You're listening to M.T.V.B. Podcast. Movies, TV, video and board games. This show may contain swearing.
Hello, welcome to a brand new episode of the M.T.V.B. podcast. It's the podcast that talks about my four favourite subjects, and that's movies, TV shows, video games, and board games. I'm your host, Anthony, as well as most people know me as the Ant-Man, and welcome to again our Spooktacular season in October, which every episode in October we'll talk about a famous horror movie franchise. And this episode we're going to be talking about those zombie/ghoul movies of the George Romero Trilogy. And I'm joined with me a bunch of guys that love to talk about horror movies. Guys, introduce each other around the table, please.
Hello, it's Simon.
And it's Tim.
Hi, guys. Haven't seen you since season 1. How are you?
Yeah, good to be back.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
That's it, dude.
Simon, obviously you're part of Board Stupid. Let's have a little plug for your podcast, please.
Yes, hello, Board Stupid. Myself, Wayne and Tom, talking all things board games, D&D and other awesome things. We've got our own podcast. We've got Instagram, Facebook. You can find us at Board Stupid UK as our general tag. And our main home is at anchor.fm/Board Stupid, BOARD.
Nice. You can tell you've done that a few times. You've got it down to a T, sir.
It's normally Wayne that does all the spiel, so I'm glad that came out fairly clear.
He'll be so proud of you if he hears this episode.
I'm sure Anthony will drop a link in with his
exactly
notes if I've messed it up.
So yeah, guys, welcome back. Tim, welcome back for because you came back last year for Spooktacular season. Welcome back, sir.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back.
Yeah. So the George Romero films, you all familiar with these movies?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Recapped last week just in case.
I should have recapped. I didn't. I couldn't find no box set.
I'm sure it'll come back to you in bits and bobs, whatnot.
Yeah, I think we've all seen these films a good amount of times to have it
exactly,
well in our psyche.
And a few quotes will come up with it every now and then, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So let's just get on with how we do this. So we're obviously going to talk about the original trilogy, which is Night, Dawn, and Day of the Dead, and we'll probably throw in Land of the Dead just for sake of runtime at the end, really.
Okay. Not one I'm too familiar with. I think I only gave that a single watch through.
I think I've only seen the movie twice, maybe 3.
I remember a couple of bits from it. That's one with the Dreadnought, right? The big truck.
Yeah. No.
Or am I misremembering?
Oh man, what is it? Dead Reckoning. Dead Reckoning.
Yeah.
So obviously, let's go and start with how did you guys get into these films? When was the first time do you remember watching them at all, or heard about them at all? Or
I think Night of the Living Dead was the first one I watched, but I saw the colorized shitty VHS version.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It freaks me out watching that. I can't bear it.
I had that from. Do you remember Smokey's Videos rental store?
Yeah.
My dad rented that one. It was the I remember the cover. It was like a colorized version of the first zombie you see in the graveyard, just like holding a guy's head down on the floor.
The old geezer, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the image I remember, and I remember very young age watching it, and I shouldn't have. So it's blurred.
That's like a running theme for you, though, I think.
I'm
watching movies when you're like 6.
I got in early. I got in the game early. So I'm almost desensitized to a lot of horror films. So, but yeah, no.
Did you know it was in black and white originally, though, or
no?
But
But it did seem off because colorization, especially the VHS one, from what I remember, was very. I don't know. It's almost like a blur framing going around their faces.
That's right. Yeah.
It almost like ghosts them, silhouettes them.
Yeah, almost like animated.
Yeah.
But I remember, that was definitely the first one I watched, but the very first one I fully remember watching was definitely Dawn of the Dead.
Okay.
I saw that one late night, BBC 2.
Yes. Yeah.
I think they did a zombie season or something.
I got into so many movies post midnight on BBC 2.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it definitely helped me out with my horror collection as well. What about you, Si?
I was probably 14 round at my friend Dave's house. We used to have a few kind of parties well before the drinks and anything like that. Just watch these cool badass movies. And Dawn of the Dead, I think, was the first one I remember seeing and absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
I mean, went backwards from there. I think I think we probably did Dawn and Day because they were obviously in colour.
Of course, I was going to say,
a bit more going on in them, a bit more to kind of get into as teenagers wanting horror movies. Night of the Living Dead, a bit of a different prospect, but obviously have gone back and really appreciate that sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm kind of the same with Tim with mine. I didn't really watch them all the way through. I saw them in bits, especially with, like you said, Dawn of the Dead being on BBC Two or not. But I actually never really watched these movies until you kind of introduced them to me, Simon, which was, I don't know if you remember a few years back, we done like a marathon of it at your old place.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was the first time I properly watched them through. I mean, I remember certain bits, like remembering Day of the Dead with the shovel killing and all that sort of stuff, but to actually watch them all the way through, that was like my first experience with them. Obviously, I knew of them, but never really like got to appreciate them more until we watched them around yours. And then I do believe we had a different edit for your Night of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead.
It's got a weird, having rewatched it again, it reminded me, and it's odd because the version I have is from the 1998 box set, Trilogy of the Dead, and it's got tacked on at the beginning and end this odd, like 4 or 5 minute intro outro with.
Oh, this is the Tarantino one.
I think it might be, somehow related, and it's super weird. And it's got this priest who's looks like he should be in more like a Rob Zombie movie, or possibly in a. Early 90s WWF promo.
Yeah, because I remember watching it, I was like saying to myself, I don't remember this part from, remember seeing bits of it. And then that's when obviously you explained that there was like this new cut that they've done.
Still not sure really of the point of it.
No, I swear Tarantino had something to do with it.
I heard the rumour, but I wasn't sure if that's like an urban legend or something, or like a Mythbuster sort of thing.
Yeah, always got a small part in it. I know Tarantino had some sort of about it, but it's an odd little joke. It's the first zombie you see, isn't it? It's just basically him getting buried.
Yeah, it's like the beginning and like a little bit at the end or something, isn't it? I can't remember.
There's literally a 3-minute intro and a 2-minute outro from what I remember.
Okay.
Basically, it seems to largely revolve around, as Tim says, this first body being pulled out and a priest doing some weird rites over it, and then becoming nearly the first victim. Like, okay.
So it's essentially the origin almost. Like, so the zombie starts because of a ceremony that this ritual does on this one guy, I'm guessing.
Oh, so the first guy at the beginning.
Yeah, the very first zombie you see in the film. So
yeah.
That's from this one from what I remember. He's getting buried, and as I was saying, the priest is doing some sort of ritual, and he's obviously said something wrong or some sort of subtext.
It makes little sense, and you miss nothing if you don't see that version of it.
From what I'm trying to, I'm gathering they're trying to say here's the origin of how it all started, instead of being ambiguous and saying it just happens. Like Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, it just happens. There's no reason for it, kind of thing. But it's a bit odd that. Do you really need to know?
It's scary when you don't know, really, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah,
so it defeats the purpose. But where does Tarantino think of him? I don't know, but I know I'm not alone in thinking that Tarantino has some sort of affiliation with that.
Yes, I said I knew there was that aspect of it, but I wasn't sure if it was like someone word of mouth Tarantino was involved in it sort of thing. Yeah. But then obviously Tom Savini remade that one as well, didn't he?
90s, yeah.
Was it in the 90s or something as well?
Not seen.
I think I've seen like the beginning bit. I know Tony Todd's in it, but that's about it. I don't really.
That's not one I'm.
Have you not seen it? No.
I haven't seen it either. No. I haven't seen it. The Return of the Living Dead. I haven't seen those.
You must have seen the first one.
The first one, yeah. But not the sequel.
No, I've never seen sequels.
Or the Night of the Living Dead remake sequels, if that makes sense.
Oh, right, okay.
I haven't seen those either.
Yeah, there was definitely a spate, wasn't there? Kind of late 90s of. Because those kind of films don't really have much of a budget, then
exactly.
Anyone who cares to bother gathering people together will make a shoddy sequel.
It's because the zombie era, I think, died down after Day of the Dead. The 90s was just straight to DVD zombies, and then obviously Danny Boyle brought it all back, early 2000s with 28 Days Later, and then the zombie genre got kicked back up again. The 90s were pretty much straight to DVD ones. It's obviously massive now still.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, we're going to go into these movies now. Just hope you remember them bit by bit, or if there's any parts of it you like or any bit of trivia, then please just throw them out. So we'll start with, obviously, the two people driving up to the graveyard. It's Barbara and Johnny, I believe.
It is Barbara.
Definitely
and Johnny.
Barbara, from that quote.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, of course it is, because, it's the beginning of it, isn't it?
Yeah. And who's going to get the first quote in?
Oh, go on, man.
No, I won't do that. I won't do that. Okay. But so they're driving up to their mum's tombstone or something, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's a mum.
Yeah, and then obviously her brother mentions like, "Oh, I remember doing a trick on you here in this cemetery once, and it scarred you for life. So I won't do it again." And then he starts doing the creepy voice, and you know, go on.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Yeah, I love that line. Do you know what? Do you know when he says it in Shaun of the Dead, it totally flew past me. He's like, "We're coming to get you, Barbara," and I was just like, "I forgot that's from that movie."
Yeah. Look, here comes one of them now.
That's it. Yeah, the Walker, isn't it? As he's titled as or something.
That's a good point, actually. So, is he saying that a zombie's coming for her, or what? A ghoul? Because obviously this is meant to be the first.
He just like, oh look, there's one of them now. So I don't know, because he.
I don't think they ever use the Z word.
They don't know. So
much as Walking Dead, I don't think ever use.
Yeah, in this later on, we find out they call them ghouls. There's never the Z word in this movie.
Yeah, they have a ghoul quality to it.
Yeah,
this being back in 1968, this is possibly one of
53 years old. Yeah,
yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's and I still think it holds. I think I watched this literally like 2 days ago, and I still think it holds up as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It was. Particularly Night of the Living Dead strikes me as almost a theatre piece, as weird as that might sound, because it's so contained after that initial start in the cemetery, moves to the house, and then it's just
there, yeah.
So I could almost see this working as a stage play, and I think the main protagonist was a well-known stage actor at that point who was brought in for the movie.
Well, they did a stage show with Evil Dead, so
they did.
But that was a musical, wasn't it? But they could do that with it. That's a good point. Yeah, they could do that.
Yeah, didn't remember. I think it's loosely based on I Am Legend, because that book came out in 1953.
Okay,
and he got the idea around that point. But rather than being vampires, it's just living dead, which is the same thing as a vampire, but eating rather than drinking blood.
Oh, okay.
But then having just one person have a few.
So kind of reimagine some of the existing thoughts around voodoo and the reanimation of bodies in that regard, and therefore really set a tone of not a demonic particularly, it's more just a weird existence that they are reanimating and then carrying on with this odd existence and trading people down with no real regard to why they are just in this zombified state. It's quite an interesting crossover.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, it never really does get explained.
No.
We just, I think the only explanation was the shot in the head theory. Comes into this later, but so we'll carry on with Johnny just letting this random guy come across his sister and start attacking her. It's very odd, isn't it? How it's just, oh look, there's one of them now. Just walk past her and she just gets attacked by this random guy.
It's very much of its time, which I think for those of us that are fans of it, you appreciate it more because of it. As a new watcher to it, I think you probably can't help but go, oh, why the bloody hell didn't you just
walk the other way?
Yeah, it's
hammy.
It is hammy. Yeah, it works only because of the very obviously poor choices made by these characters.
Sure.
But I think that's part of its charm, really.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
It's an utter unknown. You have to remember, as we said, 53 years ago, it was people watching the movie, and the people within it wouldn't have grown up watching as we've done.
So was this like the background of initially the first Living Dead movie at the time?
Technically, yes. But then again, there were ghouls.
Yeah, so...
But it was the first.
But was there anything sort of zombie side sort of movie before that? No. I can't think of any personally. But
it certainly stands out as the epitomization of that genre. Early doors. I'm not familiar. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to be a.
Do you know, someone's probably going to make a comment going, "Oh, this movie was out before this, you fucking idiots."
I mean, I'd welcome the recommendation, honestly.
Obviously.
If there's something of equal quality that came before this, I'd love to see it.
It's like when you say like Halloween was the first slasher film, when it wasn't. There was two before that, two other movies before that. But but we'll go with that for now until someone complains on the comments. Sure. So she gets attacked by this Walker guy. Johnny helps her out, and he sort of doesn't he just like get sort of push him away. He gets attacked, and this zombie, can't call him zombie. This ghoul knocks him out or hits him on the back of the head or something.
Yeah, very much the weak-kneed just falls to the ground,
That's
smacks
it, and
his
just
head.
unconscious.
That's the end of Johnny, as far as we know.
But after that, my favourite shot in this whole movie is when that Walker looks up and the lightning flashes.
Oh, yeah.
At the same time as he looks up at Barbara at the corner of the camera. I friggin' love that shot. I mean, it's just like, it's so cheesy, but it's brilliant at the same time, that shot. That's what I love about it. And obviously this Walker goes after Barbara. She hides in the car. And I didn't realise there's actually part where he goes to one side of the car, goes round it, and the part where he smashes the window, it's like one shot. And he tries to break it in like three times. It's like, that's really good for the time, how the camera just moved from there in this small car round to the other side. It's, it's quite good for such a cheap budgeted film at the time.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. As much as it's a cheap, some would say, amateurish almost in its production quality, that was purely through budget. It wasn't through aspiration. And they did some really interesting things, like the like that camera movement there. And you saying the window breaking, it was one of the first things that struck me rewatching them, because I always think of zombies as being this very low brain level, effectively brainless creatures. But picks up a rock. It's still using tools. And I thought that was more of a development later in the series. But from the very start, they've still got that remedial sense of, I can't break it with my hand, I'll go grab something hard and heavy.
Yeah. The zombie lore changes through each film and each decade, pretty much.
And then later on, like you say, they realise they can't get in the house, so they start using bricks and other sort of things to try and get in the house later on, which is like something that they don't really bring up again till like Land of the Dead, but obviously we'll come to that later. So obviously Barbara escapes and comes across it's a farmhouse, isn't it, or some sort? Yeah,
it's that classic pure isolation.
It's not like a cabin in the woods thing. It's like a
no. There's nothing bad about it inherently. It is a shack.
White picket fence America.
Kind of, yeah. It's your archetypal
I'll come back
single-story farmhouse. Well, actually, no, it's not single-story. It is a double-story, quite pivotally. But yeah, there's no one else around, or really not many people around is the point. They are isolated, which very much plays into the story. It's not set in the cities like the latter ones are, which give a different feel.
Yeah.
This is very much, you need to survive this, or there's no one coming to help you.
Yeah, and this one Walker literally follows her all the way to this house, and she sort of locks herself in at the time, has a look around the house until she goes upstairs and finds a dead body at the top of the stairs.
That's it.
And then she goes mental or something and starts running out. But then we come across our other star, which is Ben.
Yeah, the male protagonist of the story.
Yeah.
Comes in, absolutely. He arrives in a truck that he's managed to hotwire, but he's running low on gas, I think.
That's right,
the story. So he's found himself down this road, and then he's trying to basically take control of the situation while Barbara falls into this absolute hysteria for essentially the rest of the movie. Yeah,
she's like, goes to like a midlife crisis sort of thing. She's like, she goes completely caca. And that's what I love about this movie, because when you watch that beginning scene, you think she's going to be the star of this movie. She's kind of now put aside for a while, if you think about it.
She's the damsel in distress.
That's it, yeah. And then
it's
Ben
cliche for its time, but it was an ongoing thing.
Yeah. But like I said, she was the one that, it's like very much the psycho sort of thing to it, really, isn't it? It's just like, you thought this person was going to be it, and then no, it turns out it's going to be this person.
Yeah. The best actor in the whole film.
He's awesome. There's a part where he smacks her as well. There's like, you'd never get past that this day, even age, would you?
Full on punches her.
Yeah, big time. But yeah, she's going caca cuckoo whilst he's trying to board up the place, and I think whilst they chat with one another, all of a sudden we come across a couple of people that are hiding in a basement or something.
Yeah, the mum and dad.
There's a few. So there's Harry. Harry and Tom come up, don't they?
That's right. Yeah, the two guys.
Yeah,
and then they reveal there's their relative partners in the basement downstairs.
That's
right. And so you were already getting this tension. Ben's trying to calm down and handle Barbara from going absolutely bonkers.
That's it.
Trying to run outside into the...
Trying to stop her from going,
increasing ghoul infestation outside, because you slowly get these exterior shots in the dark, in the black and white, where more and more creatures, for whatever reason, are being drawn
just
to
coming
this
towards
house,
them.
for no explanation. I think it works well for having no explanation other than shit's gone crazy.
Yeah.
And here they are.
I think he comes up with a couple, like, he finds out they're afraid of fire at one point.
He does.
And they keep trying to put it out, but he constantly starts throwing furniture out on fire just to sort of keep them at bay for a little while or something, doesn't he?
Yeah. So there's this constant fight off between keeping the zombies at bay, but then this interior tension of, it's not just us two, it's you four as well. Where have you come from? What's your deal? The like constant tension in the human side as much as the human v ghoul side.
There's a huge superiority complex between like Ben and
Harry,
Harry especially, who is amazing.
I love how like Simon was saying, he's trying to calm Barbara down, trying to talk to Tom at the same time, and then explain to Harry, come on, you heard me here earlier, why aren't you helping me out? Why'd you make me do all this? And then you guys all of a sudden pop up. And the amount of excuses Harry comes up with is just brilliant. But he's definitely that character you love to hate.
He's your typical middle manager who it's everyone else's problem but his, but he expects you to do him a favour.
I mean, you kind of see his side of the story. He is trying to protect his family. He's like, downstairs is the safest place, and then there's that ongoing argument with Ben and him saying, no, this is safer. Whilst I think he's trying to convince Tom as well at the same time to stay up here, it'll be safe or whatnot. You've got more exits and whatnot. So we and isn't Harry's daughter, she's been bitten or scratched or something, I can't remember.
I don't think they let on too much detail, but she's definitely not well. And down in the basement. So Karen is the daughter and Helen is Harry's wife, and that then becomes again an added level of tension, and it's essentially a ticking time bomb now of shit's going on downstairs. We need outside. We need to keep that in control. There's also something downstairs that we need to stop being an escalation point.
Exactly, yeah. But they're unaware that she will turn though, because again, like the audience watching it the first time, we don't know the ins and outs of the ghoul infection at the time, is it? So
absolutely, yeah.
So as far as they're concerned, she's got like a cold or something, isn't it?
Yeah, watching it now, you can't help but go, bitten, is she?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Hare. Wonder where this is going to go.
Absolutely. Back then, with no prior knowledge, then you was like, oh no, the poor girl. Well, they need to get her out to safety. They need to get her some help.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is that the bit when I listen to the radio station that comes into effect now?
Oh no, that was that was before.
Yeah.
And then Harry comes up and goes, "Oh look, the radio's on," doesn't he?
That's right. Yeah. What does the radio station say? Because I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Well, I can't remember what they say exactly, but I remember they watch. The TV comes on at some point.
Yeah, they're describing it as a mass outbreak of
radiation or something, wasn't it?
Murderous intent with no obvious cause. They're describing it as just people going a bit mad and like murdering people. They're not saying that it's dead returning to life and chewing on people or anything like that. It's very much just there's some weird occurrences across the county, and then news later on of, it's wider spread than we thought. So you start to get this picture of, it's not just this farmhouse in the localised area.
It's happening everywhere.
It's a bigger problem. And a slow escalation from there. And I think they start mentioning maybe like safety zones or places to go as safe haven.
Yeah.
So there's in that discussion of, is it better to stay where we are, locked down, possibly in the cellar, wait for it to blow over, go down the Winchester. or should we start heading out?
Wait for the whole thing to blow over.
Exactly.
And then don't they agree on some sort of plan where they're going to run for the pump station or something?
Yeah, the truck's out of gas that Ben arrived in. They need to refuel, so
it could be like an escape or something, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah. So the younger couple, Tom and Judy, is the
Judy. That's it. That was the girlfriend of Tom, isn't it?
They head out, I think, with Ben to the garage, or maybe it's just the two of them.
So I believe the plan was something like Harry will throw some Molotovs to sort of keep him away, keep him distracted, so they can get to the car, isn't it? It's only meant to be Tom and Ben, but then Judy decides, no, I'll go with them instead now, isn't it? And they drive to, so they obviously get away. They get to the pump, and this is what makes me laugh about this movie. It's again so brilliant, but you appreciate it because of what it is. Tom gets to the pump and he says, it's locked. This key doesn't work. So Ben gets his gun and shoots the pump.
Clean shoots the petrol pump.
Yep. Yeah, it's like
best shot ever though.
And then the most stupidest part afterwards is like how Tom takes the pump out and literally drops it right by this flaming torch that Ben left out. And it's completely covered their car. And at some point, it's going to blow, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
so.
it's almost farcical. It's
a complete clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a staged...
It's just the way Tom does, oh!
Yeah. It's like a staged event where if you pull yourself back a little, like, oh no, I never saw that coming.
That's it, yeah.
And then you got, what's his name? Ben obviously sees it and then wants to run back to the house. Harry's just like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And then locks the door.
Yeah, because the car, Judy and Tom actually drive off because he's like, oh shit, get away from the pump, doesn't he? Yeah. And obviously the car catches fire and Tom and Judy blow up. And like you said, Harry's seen this and like, oh, fuck this. You guys ain't coming back in, and screws Ben over again, doesn't he?
Tries to, anyway.
Yeah, tries to, obviously. But then Ben manages to get back in and then beats the shit out of Harry, doesn't he? Yeah. And, within reason, of course.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Rightly so.
And Barbara's still catatonic throughout this whole film.
She is. She does. She's still like... She does sort of come back every now and then and say some stupid random things like, oh, we can't get in the car because Johnny's got the keys or something like that.
It's like Tippy Hedren in The Birds, like the very last 10 minutes.
That's a good analogy, actually. Yeah. I think, though, with the mentioning of the keys, they've kind of written her off as being in any kind of use, and she's basically saying to them, there's another car 100 yards up the road that is gassed up and he's got the keys, you just need to go and sort it out. But because of this hysteria in her head, they just never listen to her.
Yeah. She's a crazy woman now.
Yeah. So you I think it was Romero's attempt to just show the impact of the craziness of the situation. Where you can't see, you get very blinkered, like, there's dead guys creeping towards me and this guy's just locked me out of the house. I'm not listening to anything else.
Yeah.
Just kind of finding weapons and defending and whatever else there.
And then I believe we see another... the television comes back on again, doesn't it? And they come across these people that are going out shooting these ghouls. Are they cops or something?
There is a news report. Yeah, the local PD have gone around... not collecting, but yeah.
There's like a big group of them, isn't there? Just go around sort of clearing them out, if you will, sort of thing. I can't remember the ins and outs of it, but there's some sort of group that have come together with shitloads of guns and just, hey, just...
People just want to shoot.
Yeah. So it's like you said, the American way.
It's an early hope moment, I suppose, kind of maybe midway through the movie that it looks like they're not entirely done for.
Like, we ain't staying in, we're going to go out and shoot.
There might be some option out of this. Yeah. They just need to team up with whoever's out there that they now know about. But.
And then, obviously, after that, the power goes out, which obviously terrifies them all in the house now. Helen's the mum, isn't she?
That's right.
So Helen's... Doesn't Hans come out and attack Helen through the boards? And they try and pull it now. Like, zombies are coming in now. They're like, oh, we ain't taking this shit anymore now.
Oh, wait, we're forgetting a bit when the car's blown up and stuff, the zombies are actually eating...
Oh, yes. They're actually eating...
their body parts.
Yeah, Judy and Tom, they're actually eating. And that's the part when we get to see ghouls in their full effect of eating human flesh, wasn't it?
First time on screen you see that.
Yes, that's right. And the music for that part is really creepy as well. Yeah. I remember watching that round Jaws, and there's that part where one's, eating this meat off a femur.
Yeah,
and I was like, man, that's for 1968. That's bold.
And there's one, I think it's the liver.
Something like that, isn't it? So going back to Helen, she's been pulled through all these boards, and then all of a sudden, Barbara's come out of her being crazy and decides, oh, do you know what? I'm actually going to do something, and stands up and helps her, doesn't she? She tries to get her through, which I believe she does, and goes back downstairs to her daughter, Karen, who's now... No, I'm sorry, I'm lying. Let's go back, rewind, sorry. So as Harry's been beaten up, he goes for Ben's gun. Ben's found a gun. He's found a Winchester, hasn't he, in the house? Rifle, he's finally got hold of the rifle, hasn't he? Harry manages to get it off of Ben, but Ben gets it back off him, and he's like, do you know what, stop this, I'm sick and tired of you, and he shoots him in the gut, doesn't he? Shoots him like on the side or something.
Yeah.
And he goes down to Karen, doesn't he? He's like, oh, my daughter's down there, and with my last bit of strength, I'm going to go see my daughter and die next to her. Like I said, going back to Helen, she got free. She goes downstairs to see Karen, which Karen's half eaten Harry's arm off at the time or something like that. She's fully turned now, hasn't she? So
I'd like to know how she bit his fucking arm off.
Yeah, because it's
assuming-
literally
I'm
like
assuming it's
after
that
the
weapon.
elbow as well.
I'm assuming it's that weapon she uses later on the mum.
It's like a garden tool or something, isn't it?
It's a definite garden tool. I don't know what the fuck it's called though. It's when you dig up plants with.
Yeah, because it's not a spade, is it?
It's not.
Like the triangle.
Tiny ass spade.
Triangle, is it trowel?
Hand
Trowel.
It's a trowel, yeah.
Oh,
I don't remember the specifics, honestly.
Garden
No,
eggs.
I don't know. I mean,
Size of garden expert.
I found out there was a garden tool that's called a hoe the other day. So
Yeah.
House party.
Well, as we're talking about garden tools,
yeah,
I've always had apart from the plethora of weapons I do actually have in my flat anyway, I've always said to myself, a garden centre would be great to pick up melee weapons. There's so many sharp, hard objects in garden centres that people use just to rake the fucking leaves up and make small holes in the dirt to plant flowers, but you mash people's faces in if you get one of these big garden claws.
Plenty of stuff to hurt a brain.
Indeed. So if you ever find that you are in a zombie apocalypse, don't head to the supermarkets to
go
get
straight
food.
for the garden shed.
Go to your local squires and rip all the shovels out.
Yeah.
There's some good hardware down there.
There's not many gun shops, so you got no choice. You have to go to garden.
We'll take the second best and go gardening.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I'd prefer a melee weapon most of all. You don't want to attract attention with a
He's a
The
silent
gun.
silence.
Where was now? Oh yeah, so Helen goes down to see Karen. Karen's eating half of Harry. And then Helen's like, "Oh, Karen, poor baby," something like that, isn't it? Poor baby, Karen.
Yeah, she can't see past the fact that it's her daughter, regardless of her munching on the
It's like, where did he come for that? So she's like in distress, falls down, and Karen just basically stabs the shit out of her. Really,
and you have the most surrealist killing in the whole film. This weird sound effect of her voice echoing.
yeah, it's like a creepy squeal, sort of scream, sort of and they
reverbs and just echoes. And you've seen the shot of the shadow stabbing down,
and you still get the blood coming out as well, which is pretty good. But as this is happening, we kind of get a bit of a reuniting where Barbara gets the door, she opens it, and then who's there waiting for her? She comes in, Johnny, her brother,
Johnny boy,
exactly. And I just love the fact how he's come back, and he's like got that horrible hand coming through and whatnot, and she's like, "No, Johnny, no."
Yeah, this is very much Ghoul Johnny to point out.
Yeah, Ghoul Johnny. Sorry, big pardon. Yeah, he's fully turned now. Even though he got hit on the head, he's now turned into
Tombstone curb turned him into a
again. So.
It's another classic reveal though. In there.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like one I never saw come when I first watched it, but yeah, that's Barbara gone as well. So now we're down to the last man standing, which is obviously Ben. He does struggle, and then Karen comes up to try and bite him on the hand, but he manages to get past her, and then locks himself in the basement, I believe.
I forget which order everything happens.
Or cellar, whatever it is. Yeah. So Harry gets up because he's now a ghoul. He shoots Harry 3 times, and then Karen starts. Not Karen, beg pardon. Helen wakes up and he shoots her. So now he's literally all alone in this cellar, basement, whatever. Whilst the ghouls are storming the house, trying to get in, sort of thing. Yeah. Until obviously night becomes day. They're all gone because they've all the group that we mentioned earlier on that will go around shooting people have showed up at the house.
It's effectively a local militia combined between the farmers and the local cops.
They've shot them all up. They've burnt them into on top of a bonfire, whatnot.
You almost get this kind of Benny Hill moment where it gets very light-hearted. The music's really jangly and jaunty.
True.
Shows like a small compilation that these 2 old dudes like, oh damn, I missed him. Almost having fun with this.
That's right.
Hell on earth.
They're having fun, like doing it, aren't they? Enjoying it. Ben obviously realizes day comes out, and he's slowly trying to figure out what's going on outside. But he's also got a gun in his hand. And then we come to the most brutal ending, probably in this trilogy, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite telling. I think it's a good. I mean, it's quite shocking when you first see it.
I never saw this coming personally,
either.
But what happened, Simon? Go on, tell.
Well, the cops or militia, whoever they are, out in the field approaching. They've not quite surrounded this house, but they work their way towards it, taking out all of these creatures that have been encroaching on the space that has been the survival for the last 90 minutes. And then one of them goes, "Oh, there's one in the window," and you just hear the snap of a gun.
Yeah.
Ben gets shot in
straight in the
head.
head.
He's done everything he can to survive, and then he's taken out
First thing in the morning.
Yeah, which so yeah, not a happy ending, but I think quite a fitting ending for the
Great shot. Is that what he says?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Good shot there, man.
Good shot. That's another one for the fire.
That's it, yes. That's another one for the bonfire. Yeah, just... I sort of had a feeling it was going to happen, but I thought he might pop his head out in time before he took the shot. When he gets shot, I just feel, like you said, Simon said, he's like, you spent this whole night with him trying to survive, and then it's not even the ghouls that, kill him in the end, it's ourselves. So
yeah, just those crazy still images of the meat hooks.
At the end, yeah. They kind of, the movie sort of ends, and the rest of it's played by still shots, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which not sure why they did that. I don't know if it was time and money, whatnot.
Probably budget. I think there's a lot of. I mean, apparently the main reason it was in black and white was purely a budgetary reason. It wasn't a.
I was going to say, was there a reason for the black and white at all? Or
it was his first feature, wasn't it? So it was just cheap budget because he did commercials, I believe.
Okay.
Before he did the film, like I said, he wanted to do like an I Am Legend type movie because that was his favorite book, and then that's where he made this pretty much on his budget. But yeah, those still images. I think more effective. If you just saw him being dragged and stuff, I don't think it would have been as effective. There's something about the still shots and the zoom ins, and you got that song playing.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's more because it's to go through each of them. They're more politically satirical in social demographics. Like I think the first 9/11 Days about the civil rights movement that was going on in the 60s. Obviously, each zombie film goes through each decade and goes through each political commentary through that. So I think that was the whole meat hook part for him, the whole civil rights movement.
I'm not sure how obvious or specific Romero was trying to be in having these.
It's subtle.
These ties to, as you say, the ongoing political agenda of the era. Obviously, Ben is a black guy throughout
the peak of racism in the 60s as well.
Period. So you've very got. It seems to be set somewhere in the southern states where you got kind of. Hey, you boy, come here, that kind of deal. That again provides some of this tension throughout the movie. Is you've got everyone else being in the house being white versus Ben being black, but him taking charge, which is somewhat controversial, I think, even at that time.
It was the first film to have a black man as the lead role.
Was that true?
In the first horror film. Yeah, but he was only picked because he was the best actor for the role.
He's a phenomenal actor.
Well, he was good.
He never really did much after, I don't think. I looked up, or certainly not in big budget movies. I did look up on IMDb, and he didn't have a huge number of credits.
I don't think any of them did. I think Barbara even was, even though she was meant to be the star, never really did anything after this movie either.
She was more theatre or musical and kind of oriented and was drawn into this. But none of them had a huge career in movies.
No.
Yeah.
And I don't think because they were in this, it was just the nature of
No, not at all. I mean,
nature of the time.
Yeah.
There's such a huge fan base for it now. They probably could have just survived on the one doing the one movie in honesty, really. But
But do you think the film works better in black and white or colour? Or if it had been filmed in colour, do you think that would have lessened it? Do you think it's more impactful?
I think it's more impactful, to be honest. Especially some of the shots and stuff. I mean, going with like you're saying with the budget and stuff, maybe the makeup wouldn't have looked as great in colour either.
No.
I was going to say, black and white's a lot more forgiving at times, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you can be more stark in your contrast, in light and shadow.
It helps you focus more on the characters more than the gore factor.
Yes. It's important to know, I think, that this isn't an overtly gory movie, I'd say. That wasn't...
Apart from that one scene.
Yeah.
Apart from the what was it again? The garden tool?
The trowel?
The trowel, that's it,
There's a bit, the bit when they're eating the body parts. I mean...
of course, yeah.
There's a few impactful moments where it really works well, rather than some of the more modern stuff, which just goes, how many buckets of slop can we throw at this movie? Which I think is where some of the modern stuff really falls down, is just being nothing but blood and guts without having the impact.
Yeah. I was going to say that, is it Karen, the mother, that gets chopped up?
Karen's the kid, Helen's the mum,
Yeah, out of all, including the sequels of the zombie films, it's the only death scene that has that kind of like weird surrealist death. Because everything, all of the zombie kills are pretty much straightforward.
Sure.
Like, there it is. But that's the only one that's a bit
horror film sort of esque, isn't it?
I don't know what it is. It's surreal. That's probably the best way I can do it. It's not in reality. It's done purely to have that film sound and realize like it kind of takes you out. Saying it's like it's like a dreamy, nightmarish fever.
Yeah, I've never really thought of it like that, to be honest. But I see where you're coming from, definitely.
Yeah, because it's like wow, 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 wow. That kind of like operatic sound thing, and then and the way, like even to the way it's shot. I think it's the only one. Like most of his films are basically shot, but this one he's took his time on this one kill. But out of all of them, because like so you got the shot of the shadow, you got the blood square, and
which he doesn't bring back until Lands of the Dead. Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a shot he does. He does a lot of shadow shots in Land of the Dead. And it was like, I don't remember those in the other two either. So,
No, because all of them are pretty straightforward. But that one scene in particular is the only one that stands out differently to all his films. That one death scene, from what I remember, anyway. Like I said, it's that sound effect from what I remember.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because again, it's like why have it there? It never gets used again either or whatnot. So yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that one. So yeah, that's pretty much Night of the Dead, really. I really like Night of the Dead, to be honest. I mean, I think the more I go back and watch it, I like Simon said, I appreciate it more. It's one of those films that like would get, if I was young watching it again, would want me to go and start making my own horror films and stuff like that. Yeah, very much like Evil Dead 2 and whatnot as well. So
yeah, it's a good.
Which
classic.
I think inspired this movie inspired Sam Raimi or something, didn't it, for this?
So, a lot. It's inspired many.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It has that classic feel. Like it's that. I think it's a good start to a Halloween sort of like precursor. If you're going to do like a marathon of movies, that's the one you start with.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
It's simple, clear. It tells a fairly straightforward story, but it hits so many key points to set up what we now know as the genre of zombie films. It's a great starting point. So now we've told you exactly what happens, and if you've not seen it, go watch it.
By the way, spoilers anyway.
But anyone, you should have watched this anyway. Now it's like 53 years old now, so
now just spoiler warning. Now
exactly. I should have done that a while ago, really.
Spoiler warning.
Bit late notice, but fuck it, we did it anyway.
40 minutes into the episode. Hey. I think anyone listening to this at this point who hasn't cottoned on to the fact that...
Well, if they're listening to Spooktacular, they know they're going to get the whole thing ruined at the end of the day.
Deep diving these movies with good reason.
Yeah, so that was obviously part one. Now we're going to go to part two of the trilogy, which is, of course, Dawn of the Dead. I might need some help with you on this one because it's only because I watched Night of the Dead recently that I remember it all the way.
Yeah, I wasn't aware we were going to go through it quite scene by scene. So I was thinking your recall on Night of the Living Dead in terms of order was quite on point.
Well, I did make a couple of mistakes in that, but yeah. So we open up in like a newsroom, isn't it, or something?
Yep. We are a decade later on from the Night of the Living Dead.
Literally is 10 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah. When the movies were released, it was 1978 for this one.
Yeah.
And you start in this hive of activity in a newsroom where they are reporting on the latest outbreak, effectively.
Yeah, just pure chaos right from the start.
I quite like that intro, really. It just throws you in, whereas Night of the Living Dead was this very sedate drive up to the cemetery with a couple of people. This is just like...
Well, it's almost picked up from where the first one left off, in a sense, because like the first one's just like, so you got a small part of America that's just starting to rise up, and obviously Dawn of the Dead, it's all kicking off, going haywire.
And that's what they're pretty much saying in the newsroom, isn't it? That this is getting...
out of control.
Yeah. So are we saying that this is the beginning, like that was the start of it, and this is the same thing that's got bigger now, or
I think that's very much the intention. It's a pure escalation.
Yeah, I see the trilogy as like as one long film where it's got the first act, second act, third act.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. And those it's escalated now when the second act, and it's obviously like in more intense and danger's more real. It's more at stake.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if it's getting out, like I say, out of control or not.
Yeah.
But,
and once again, the political fact on this one is a little different from the other one, because the first one's about civil rights. This one's about commercialism.
Okay.
Hence the mole. Being that we are all zombies in a sense when we shop. So.
That's sort of the inner message, isn't it?
This is what George Romero likes to put in subtly.
Very much targets the consumerism that was both rampant then and now.
Yeah, his social commentary is very subtle, which I like. Yeah. Except Land of the Dead, which is too obvious.
But we'll get to that in a minute.
You will get to that.
So yes, like I said, we start in the newsroom. It's all going haywire. We get a quick little cameo from George himself, don't we?
Yeah.
But we're introduced to. Is she the main person in this movie? Or one of them at least?
I think she's meant to be.
Yeah,
because you start with her and then you kind of end with her. So usually the first person you start with is,
she's one of, I'd say, 4 key characters essentially.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's got their favourite. We all know that is, but Fran definitely is not.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
No.
Yeah, much like Night of the Living Dead, she's again a pointedly frustrating female character, and I don't know if he chose to make it the female character that was kind of frustrating in her actions on purpose as a part of that commentary, or whether it was just the way the balance fell.
I figure it's just the way movies were made from both those decades. It was just like the whoop damsel in distress thing was just, it was like a cliche in movies. You just had that in there, but obviously the third movie, Day of the Dead, he changes that dynamic.
Oh yes, you're right. So, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he kind of learned from the first two. I don't think he realised until after them. It's like, oh yeah, my female characters don't do much. Then obviously in the third one, he kind of made up for that. But in the second one, anyway, Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead. Yeah. So we've been introduced to Fran, and we come across Flyboy Steve. Steve's his name, is it?
I think it's Steve.
Steve.
Just Flyboy. That's all.
We'll stick with Flyboy because that's his kind of nickname, isn't it? He's like a helicopter pilot for the news studio, isn't he?
Yeah, so she's a news producer, or I don't think she's
she's not a presenter or anything, is she?
I don't think so. I think she's just part of.
Is she a journalist or something? She gets all the information and then gives it to the news team to say.
Yeah, it must be that case.
So she's involved in the production, and this newsroom that we're in is reporting these new outbreaks, and again, much like in the first one, giving details of a safe haven. There's already rumour and conjecture that the safe haven is not as reported, and she's like, well, I'm not telling people to go there if it's not guaranteed to be safe. You're basically killing these people. So she essentially goes, screw you guys, I'm leaving.
And Flyboy's like, I've got a helicopter, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, very importantly, Flyboy, as you'd guess by the name, Stephen, her partner, who works for the news agency, is the helicopter pilot for this news agency. So they get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, like anyone should do, really.
Very much so.
But at the same time this is happening, I believe there's some sort of incident with like a SWAT team or some sort.
We cut to a different group of people then. We go to a SWAT team infiltrating a building full of...
It's like a block of flats, isn't it, or some sort? Or apartments, as they say.
It's such an odd scene. It almost stands alone from the rest of the movie, other than to introduce these 2 other protagonists.
Because isn't it like the whole building is not just zombies? Isn't it like kind of mobsters or something? Or not mobsters, what are they called?
Oh, like gangsters or something, is it? Or
criminals of some sort.
Yeah, it's a tenement building. It kind of puts me in mind of Warriors, where this group of ne'er-do-wells basically run this tower block. But it also then homes people that have nowhere else to go, kind of destitute. And again, there's generally, if not exclusively, non-white ethnicities in there. So again, you've got
and then you've got the racist SWAT guy.
Well, absolutely, a kind of key early character in setting the tone in a way is this overweight, bearded, mental, almost...
isn't he shooting him even though they're not ghouls or something?
He just wants to shoot this.
He just shoot them all out, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's not an overtly a white supremacist, but by his actions, he's very much...
he's pretty much...
They're Puerto Ricans now, that's what they are.
There's definitely Puerto Ricans in there, and then, we find this tenement building, as well as housing these near destitute people, has also then been heavily infected by the zombie outbreak, the ghoul outbreak, however we want to describe it. So there's this weird dichotomy of save the people in there, wipe out everyone else, but they're also just trying to outright clear the building.
Yeah, because the ones that are infected, they're trying to keep away from being killed because they've
shotted them all in the basement because again, I suppose linking back to that Haitian or voodoo type idea, they don't necessarily think that those that have zombified have necessarily lost their soul. They're just in a different state.
Aren't something like body bags and stuff as well? I can't remember.
I think the priest has done something to kind of mollify the decay of the rotten, rank basement where we find a bunch of them. But they're also spread out throughout.
That's right.
The
actual rooms of
different
buildings.
Rooms.
Yeah, and we got the the one amazing kill that I think we all know.
The neck
Is this
bite?
the shoulder, neck bite, whatever it is?
Head
I know the head explosion. Yeah,
by the racist.
so the racist guy. Yeah, he just bursts in and does it, doesn't he?
Doesn't blink.
Nope.
Just says fuck it.
Yeah,
Goes in spraying. Blows a guy's fucking head off.
crazy.
Interesting fact, that head is actually modified of Fran, because the original ending was she was meant to get killed
Oh, no way.
by the helicopter blades.
Oh.
So that's her face, which they just painted and put a beard on.
No way.
I'll have to go back and find that.
Pause it, you will see.
Oh, I need to go back and watch
Just see her
that.
facial features. Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that feature. So yeah, there you go. Interesting head.
Yeah, and this is obviously the first in the trilogy with Tom Savini's makeup now, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hence
say that.
the head blowing in the neck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
huge step
scene.
up in budget and effects and so on throughout.
So is it true that I think someone was saying that the original colour for the ghouls was like a blue colour, but the type of film that George A. Romero used, it made it go green or something like that?
Quite
Is
possibly,
that
yeah.
true? Or-
I don't know it for a fact, but it definitely sounds like a likely thing.
Like it wasn't meant to be green, it wasn't meant to be like a bluish grey sort of colour or something.
It changes. If you look at, they're not all the same colour.
Yeah.
It's literally what like you're saying. Some of them are grey, some of them are blue, some of them are like greenish. So they've all got different colours. I don't know if that was due to, like I said, it could be the budgetary thing.
Yeah.
Because obviously most of them are the same colour. There's not many like gore effects on them. So it's just basically just paint grey, like the background ones.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's up close that you see the real makeup.
Yes, it's like if you really look at it, you can sort of tell, couldn't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, after that, like I said, who are the characters we're introduced into this scene? It's
So here
Roger?
we've got Roger and Peter, the
Roger and
two
Peter.
SWAT guys here who are both a bit more sensible than some of their comrades who are going around enjoying the duck hunt, basically. These two are a bit more thoughtful, a bit more prepared, working out what's actually going on here. Roger goes further down into the basement and finds this collection of zombie-type creatures that have been kept to one side, and is joined by Peter. Again, Peter will note, because I think it does come into play at times, is a black guy, whereas the other three are white. So you've got that mixture in.
Ken Forey, by the way, Kin's dad. From Kin and Kel.
No way.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's Kin's dad.
Is that legit?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Kevin Forley, I think his name
I can
is.
see it.
Yeah, it's Kin's dad. Keenan!
I never thought of that.
That's him.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. He's got a cameo in Dawn of the Dead remake as well.
Oh, okay.
These
Oh, yeah.
facts.
He's the
Sorry.
priest. He's the priest, isn't he? In that one.
He's on the TV screen.
Yeah. He says the
Says
famous
same-
line of the tagline to the movie, isn't it?
Yeah, in the
Or no,
same-
it was, isn't
Yeah.
it? So are these guys friends to start with? The two that we're introduced to, or
I think they just have a chat after they've just had to demolish everyone in that basement.
Yeah, they don't know each other
No.
outside of their own unit, I don't think.
right? Okay.
They have a cigarette break.
Yeah, they recognise each other a similarity in thought process and understanding the severity of the situation that they keep finding themselves in. They realise this wasn't a simple clear out of a building of criminals that shouldn't be there. This is very much, oh crap, this is here.
Yeah.
We need to do something.
This job is not worth it.
Yeah.
And doesn't one of them know Fran or Flyboy, and then they get on the helicopter or something?
Roger knows Flyboy.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And then decides to ask Peter to tag along.
Right.
Because
Okay.
they have this mutual understanding. Obviously, the more the merrier, more the better for like survival skills.
Sure.
Obviously, he knows that this guy's got it. Because obviously, then I think he notices him saving someone's life. Oh yeah, because he shoots the racist guy. This racist SWAT guy gets killed.
That's right.
Which everyone frowned upon him for doing, except Roger, who sees that as a humanitarian thing.
Yeah.
So he notices that this guy's got a good heart somewhere. So it's like, yeah, this guy doesn't want to just shoot the shit out of people and just do the job.
Sure.
He's a survivalist, just like him. The same thing. So yeah, I think that's how they have that mutual understanding and decide to.
Yeah, it makes sense, really, doesn't it? Yeah.
Flyboy and Fran.
So so they pick them up, don't they? And then,
Yeah, they meet at a dockyard, I think.
Oh,
Where
that's what I was going to say. I was about to say, I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're at a dockyard where I think Peter and Roger's plan was to get on a boat, perhaps, but then Stephen's there refueling the helicopter, because obviously dockyards have gas station type pumps as well. there's a bit of interaction with a few other bandit type people who are pretending to be cops.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And it's the we're going to steal your helicopter, and he's like, well, I'm not coming with you, good luck flying it. And then the other guy's like, no, come on, man, we'll do better in the boat.
Yeah.
God knows what happens to them. Probably get zombified somewhere.
Yeah, we never know, do we?
Then they all do get in the helicopter and start making their way. I don't know, with any real plan of where they might be heading, other than away from where
Just
they
fly
currently
away,
are.
wasn't it? Yeah.
I think out of the main city was one of the aims.
Yeah, basically where there's no zombies. So it's like, I don't see any people down there. Let's land here for a sec.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do stop to refuel somewhere, don't they?
Yeah.
Later on.
They do make a stop off, and it has one of my favourite death scenes of the entire movie.
That's why I left that part for you, sir.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I know which one you mean, and not the one that...
It's what I've always referred to as the Frankenstein death.
Oh, thank God. I thought you meant the kids. I was like, you
No.
Oh, no, although that's
The two
worth
kids get
mentioning
killed.
as
I was
well,
like,
yeah.
really?
They find this fairly remote, again,
Gas
it
station?
might be somewhere in farmland area. There's a fairly abandoned small airstrip.
Yeah.
Where
It's
they're-
got like a little cafe there, isn't it? or
yeah, it's a
something?
small cabin.
It looks safe because I don't see any people down there.
They take what they think is going to be some casual respite, and then realise that, actually, no, there are a couple of Zeds here, including 2 kids, is it, I think?
Yeah.
Who come out and attack Peter, who essentially just body slams one into the wall, and then, they both get shot, and again, you get that joining...
Quick edit cut of them.
Yeah.
But you can tell from that he doesn't want to shoot.
Well, no, his reaction when
Yeah.
he's shooting is like...
Yeah.
It's kind of a mercy kill in a sense, I guess.
Yeah, it's a survival thing as well, wasn't it? So
Yeah, and again, it's Peter and Roger basically working with each other. I think Stephen, Flyboy, tries to take a shot at one of them.
Mate.
Oh my God, the worst.
He does the worst part when he tries to take one out.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that? He knocks one out of the way, but he does it like, he throws his body at him.
No.
It's so pitiful.
His left arm goes underneath the other guy's arm.
That's right.
And then they both just fall down to the floor.
That's it.
Fran doing nothing. Just,
Yeah, she just stands there.
Just looking at Roger saying, oh, he's over there. I don't think he can see me or hear me.
Yeah.
And then she's just watching him struggling. And the zombie's about to
She
eat
does.
him.
And then
she
there's your
absolutely
zombie
doesn't
in front of her, isn't there?
Yeah, just slowly tipping his way towards the helicopter with the sole occupant of Fran. And there's just... It's almost like Starsky and Hutch. Why are there boxes in the alleyway to drive through?
Yes,
why
that's true.
are there crates stacked onto the helicopter pad?
Somehow.
It's simply so what I've always referred to as Frankenstein zombie can slowly step his way up over the crates and gets the top of his head swiped clean off by the helicopter blades. I'm not entirely sure how they did that stunt. Because it very much looked on the recent rewatch that was legit helicopter blade swinging overhead.
Yeah.
But my God, I wouldn't get anywhere close. I mean, it's clearly got an extended prosthetic head with maybe 3 inches above, which is
Hence why it's called the
I've always
Frankenstein,
thought
isn't
of it
it?
as
Yeah.
Frankenstein, like it's got this extra bit of head bolted on. But
I think I know. I think they, if I remember right, like they did Lord of the Rings with the like camera angles. By the way, it looks like they're
just a
further.
perspective thing.
So I think the perspective angle was there, and then the space had a string tied to the guy's head, and they just yanked it. And then went,
I mean, why not?
But essentially, as soon as it
Simple,
comes straight off,
effective.
though, there's still blood pouring out of it. It's just it's one of
good.
Tom Savini's finest, you know. I mean, it looks obvious, like you say, the shape of the head, but by God, is it a damn good effect, like you say.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely effective.
So, yeah, they fill up with fuel after those incidents. And is it the mall straight after that? Or
Yeah, they're essentially just making their way off to wherever they think is going
Yeah.
to be survivable and clear enough of other people to not worry about, I guess, running out of equipment and fighting for resources, as well as avoiding, obviously, the outbreak. And then fly over. Oh, what's that? I think it's one of those shopping malls. So I guess shopping malls in 1978 when that common. So it was something to.
But yeah, they weren't really a big thing till the 80s then, weren't they? Because
Yes,
everyone was having them then, wasn't they? So
That's when it started off, isn't it?
yeah,
The 70s
exactly,
was
yeah.
the kickstart to it. Yeah, hence why the film's political message.
yeah.
Really
So they land on the top of it, like on the roof of it, and then obviously they find a little safe room. They go in through like a glass roof or something, don't they?
yeah,
That's right. Yeah, like a skylight.
That's it.
boxes full of spam.
Is it
Spam.
spam?
Yeah, because they was like, what's that line? They're saying about like, do you have a tin opener? No. He goes, well, don't knock it. It's got its own like
Key.
Key, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, now we're on spam, folks.
Yeah, and then
Do they still make that now?
Oh yeah.
Do they? I wasn't really that.
I don't know.
I always just had one as a kid. I've never had it since. So
I'm just starting to sing the Spam-A-Lot song.
that's why.
Yeah,
so you go on.
Yeah, so Roger and Peter, they decide to go to
Peter.
They decide to go to the engine room. What would you call it? Is it? What would you call it?
Yeah, it's
like a generator.
The
room.
maintenance works and
It's gone, McCready.
yeah, the plant room, I suppose.
It's the plant room, yeah. So try and get electricity up and see if how the mole looks like inside. And then obviously they get a little sneak peek and they get to see that there's a few zombies in there. They have this discussion.
Oh, doesn't Flyboy have like the worst aim with that, doesn't he? He tries to shoot one of them or something? Oh, no, it's later on, isn't it?
Well,
later on,
there's a few moments where Flyboy just...
Oh, God.
Yeah, he's a bit of a...
Seriously, he infuriates me, that guy.
Yeah, he's one of those, like, he wants to be on the team, but he's a bit of a klutz.
Yeah, he's trying to be one of the guys and kind of failing to realise his expertise is elsewhere, i.e. he's a damn helicopter pilot.
Yeah. So they can't really knock him. It's like they kind of need him.
Yeah.
So, but even though you can tell they don't really like him at first. And then there's a bit of encouragement later on when they're trying to secure the mole, get to one part at the end. And,
they go out and they say that bit of exploration, they get the power back on, then they have a quick recce and realise that there's some stuff well worth finding down there in the mall. Albeit under the careful watch of a bunch of zombies.
Yeah.
Why are they there?
Yeah. Maybe it's instinct.
Yeah. This is where they used to shop.
Yeah. So they stay in like the safe room for a while, don't they? And then they decide if we get rid of these zombies, maybe we can make use of this mall or something.
Yeah, they start off just trying to pile resources into this upstairs area, which is essentially the back area where consumers wouldn't normally go down the corridor. So they find a gun shops, they get a bit more ammo, a few different guns, they get some more food, and then they start making grounds towards kind of properly securing and clearing out the mall. The idea being that if they just let these ghouls run around without getting sorted, it'll draw more eventually, and they'll come and find their safe
the whole
house.
place.
Yeah. And then they're like, "Can we take it?" I think we can take it.
Yeah, nice.
Let's do it. Boom. Then you got the crazy, funky 70s. Which I don't know if that fits with the film. It's odd.
There's a few moments of soundtrack I don't think this suits, but
apparently there's two different scores. There's one for there's
three different cuts of the film, isn't there? At the end of the day,
the Dario Argento one's going to see the Italian one. That's the different one. Because there's a band that does
Goblin was the band.
That's the one.
Goblins.
Who Dario Argento used in a lot of his movies.
Yeah. Oh, actually, let's remember. So I think Dawn of the Dead happened because Dario Argento was originally going to do Dawn of the Dead,
right?
Or just sort of gave Romero the idea about the mole, and that's when Romero came back. Because Romero didn't want to do a sequel. He was pushed to do sequels,
right?
I can't remember what film did that. The only ones I remember was The Crazies and Martin. Both
and Night Riders as well. Yeah.
So he did those before Dawn of the Dead, but it was Dario Argento that gave him the idea to do that.
To push him for the sequel.
Yeah. Hence why he got two different cuts. Even though Dario Argento didn't really do much to film, but he did the European cut. And I think the European cut has all the humour taken out.
Okay. I mean, I've got the cut. I've just never watched it because I'm not a fan of Dario Argento. But
no, so he made it more serious toned.
Right.
So anything that was humorous or funny, it's taken out.
Okay.
So very Italian horror of that time.
Fair enough.
So,
yeah, it's an
Is it worth watching?
It's what I've just said. Is pretty much it. There's no humour. That's it.
Okay. It is an interesting mixture in this movie because some of it's almost attempted comedy. Other stuff is just funny by default. They happen to be doing this weird stuff, and it becomes comical. But I don't know.
Out of all three, because out of all three of them, it's the most comical one. Because first and third one, there's like no humour hardly at all. This one's the only one that's got like a bit of like bounce to it. It's like, oh, I can get on board. It's the most entertaining out of the three, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say where the first one was more kind of focused on hysteria, this one's much more of a mania.
Yeah,
and they've got this wild freedom with once they start trying to lock down this mall. So they go around, they collect some trucks to block all the doors in.
Yeah.
And obviously they then taking out all of the zombies contained within. So they're reducing their number down to 0. I think they put them in a cold storage room or something.
Which I don't get. They put them in a freezer for all the food.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because
I can't remember where they did the bodies, but yeah, you just answered it now. So
they put it in the freezer. Even if you watch the scene, they actually drag the body that gets put down is next to a stack of like steak. And it's like you've contaminated that. Most of that food in there is contaminated now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I kept thinking there was a couple of times. I mean, it's only a 30-second scene where they're loading the bodies in. I kept thinking they were going to get stuck in the cold storage because that's such a trope in itself.
Yeah.
Like, one of them's not quite dead, and they've gone in there without a weapon, and the door's locked from the wrong side. And but no, didn't.
Oh wait, we haven't mentioned the trucks. How they got the trucks in the first place. And then there's what's his name? Roger. Is it Roger? Yeah. Roger gets injured.
He does, yeah. So they spy a semi-trailer parking lot just about half a mile maybe from the main mall entrance.
Yeah.
I think they helicopter their way over there to drop. Flyboy drops the 2 other guys off. They're starting to hotwire the trucks and then drive these semi-articulated trucks in to block them. Because they've got these huge doors, like 15 people wide doors that they need to close in. So the idea is that they leave all these trailers in close proximity, but in doing that they get a bit cocky again with this kind of mania. They're getting excited. Roger they're getting a bit carried away.
Yeah, Roger's losing it to the point of insanity almost. He's enjoying it way too much.
Yeah.
And he does say one of my favorite lines though, that bit, which is we got this, man.
We got this up the ass.
We got this bloody ass. Which I usually say to my gaming guys when we do a co-op game. Like towards the end, it's like, we got this, man. Got this bloody ass.
You all right? Perfect, baby.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he goes proper mental, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And I think Fran's on Overwatch at one point with the rifle on the roof, which comes quite in handy.
Isn't it?
She's useful.
Yeah, and isn't Flyboy like flying around? But he's like saying, get out of there, Roger, get out. He's like, he's not going to hear him from all the way up there, is he? So he's not going. Doesn't have a radio or anything in today.
That's showing his frustration, isn't it? That he's watching this guy go a bit mad with it, and then go, oh well, I can't do much. I can, he kind of hovers as close as he can in warning, but Roger does eventually get bitten by at least one of them.
Because he goes back for something, doesn't he? Because he gets a belt or gun or...
He left his tools in the cab and he needed them to do the next truck, I think.
Which I don't get, because they all have walkie-talkies. Like, why couldn't Flyboy just get on the walkie-talkie? It's like, yo, watch the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying, yes. You get frustrated watching it as well.
Like, use a walkie-talkie.
Contrivance? I don't know, man.
No, because it's just hovering over. It just does a head nod. It's like, you can't see me from the fucking...
So he's nodding everyone, by the way.
I'm nodding my head. As to say, look out.
So Rogers...
You're effective nodding here as Flyboy was.
Pretty much, yeah.
Rogers now, he gets bit twice, I believe.
I seem to remember there being 2, yeah.
One on the foot, one on the arm or something like that.
Certainly one severe wound. And I think by this point we're a bit more familiar with the concept of bite equals...
Yeah, you're going to turn.
Likely danger. I think they've seen enough of it, this being a decade on from the first one, to know... the likelihood of that outcome. So he then very much drops his demeanor from this wild, manic state down to oh, shit, well, now I need to make sure everything is as sorted as it can be for you guys before the worst happens.
The sudden realization.
Yeah.
Does Pete, I can't remember, does Pete decide he's going to shoot Roger there and Roger says no or whatnot, or does he just feel sympathy for him and just bring him in? I can't remember.
Well, there's a driving. Obviously, he's trying to wrap up the wound.
Yeah.
With his piece of cloth. And then, Pierre just goes, "That's it, man." As if to say, "You're fucked." And he goes "Don't worry about me. I'll be okay. There's a lot need done before I go."
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. So he's sort of like, "I'll come back and help us out."
Which Pierre then says, he understands. Let you hold out for a while. And then
they bring him in. Regardless of him being bitten.
Yeah, they carry out his last remaining days. There.
Yeah, because they proper live out the mall now, don't they? It's all theirs.
You get them crazy montage. Just having a good time.
It is a crazy montage. You're right. Again, the music starts. I think that some of the music is supposedly playing in the mall. You've got this horrible, chimey.
It's almost sitcom. Like it's like
that's the one I hate. I think that's the one that spoils this film.
It's a bit Benny Hill.
They use it at the end credits as well. That's what I don't like about it.
No.
But anyway, carry on.
It's even got shopping announcements where they're talking about a free giveaway. So basically, it's just life continuing regardless.
Yeah, regardless of what's outside their waiting for you.
The consumer machine just carries on regardless of whether there's a consumer anymore.
Yeah, so they get to wear whatever clothes they want. They get to eat whatever foods they want. They even go to the money room, I don't know, to the bank. And they see all the money and they're like, you never know. And they all grab the money and just have a photo taken.
Yes, I remember that.
Even though at this point, money is worthless.
It's pointless now, isn't it? Yeah.
But like I said, you never know.
This is it.
But they are important to mention relative to the short-sightedness of the cabin in Night of the Living Dead. They actually have a bit of forethought. They've got some training. They block up the entrance to where they are living, essentially. They find like a back door and they completely hide their own home away in case something does happen. So they're fairly clever.
They've done their homework, haven't they? Don't they build a wall?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
So the safe house area where they access the roof and the helicopter is up this stairwell. So they basically build a facade in front of it. So it just looks like the rest of the corridor.
Yeah.
Which is a great idea. And it's one that I always wanted to replicate in Blockbuster. I don't know if you guys remember that in the old Blockbuster in Three Bridges, we had an attic space which held our old condemned air conditioning. And it was accessed through the corridor by the loos. But the corridor just had a suspended ceiling like everything else. And if the ceiling tile was in place, you had no idea that this attic hatch is up there. So my thought was always, well, if shit goes down, I'll take some of my weapons to my work. Obviously, lock the door.
Well, that's why the aircon never worked. Your weapons were knackered.
That shit was knackered before I arrived by a long shot. Obviously, downstairs is largely glass, albeit triple laminate. But I thought, well, I'll lock the doors, set the alarm, and then retreat upstairs, take as much stock in as I can, because we had loads of food and drink, take it all up there, and then put the ceiling tile back in. So I've got my own little hidey hole where even if someone breaks in, I'll know they're there because the alarm will go off. Yeah. And they'll come out the back and all they'll see is the corridor with the toilets in. And they'll have no idea that I'm upstairs.
Exactly, yeah. That's a good point.
Obviously, that never happened, and now it's Iceland. And God knows. I mean, Iceland.
Fuck Iceland.
Iceland might not even know that the attic's up there.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows?
So you could still initially do it. If
Maybe.
you
we can crawl through to Lidl like Wally did that time when it was Tempo.
Oh, God, Tempo.
I'm sure we've told this story before in the last episode, but hey.
Well, the way the world is now, it might happen. But some podcasts might happen.
This is it. So, but then didn't we bring a wall forward in Blockbusters?
We did.
Yeah. It was like, hey, we've got our safe room. Which was the stock room.
Except I show it close. I'll show you, we're fucked.
That's it. So where else? Yeah, so they got them all to themselves now.
Yeah.
Living the life for a bit.
Yeah, they start looking on the...
Then we get to Roger's illness first.
Not yet, no. I think because what they're doing is they're all looking at what they've got.
Yeah.
And then you have that famous line. Was that when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
Yeah,
something his grandma used to tell him. Yeah.
They've all managed to reach a level.
That's such a good line as well.
They get that contemplation and reflection. And like, okay, well, now what?
Yeah,
that was the movie's tagline as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, they used it for the remake especially. Yeah, because I remember the poster came out and they used the same quote from that film. But so there's like realizations like they're like now they've got everything sorted. They're bored, like proper bored, aren't they? They're not communicating well. They're living this whole lifestyle, like this consumer lifestyle, and it's doing nothing for them.
Yeah, they got it good.
There's even a section with an ice rink, which I always wanted to be used more.
France just
solo skating.
Wow, an ice rink in a mall in the 70s. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Big ass mall.
But yeah, she's just kind of isolated in there, and I think the isolation is one of the
that's the key point.
Kind of repeating factors in this. Yeah. They're a group of individuals that have come together for a common.
Yeah. So Roger's dead. Fran's depressed. What happens next?
Now we get a gang of bikers.
do. The legendary and aforementioned Tom Savini with his huge gang of...
He's the leader, is he?
Well, I suppose maybe not, but because it's Tom Savini, I always assume he's the leader, but I suppose he's just one of the more standout...
He's more like Starscream. He's a Starscream of the gang. He's like, he ain't Megatron. I think Megatron's that guy with the long hair and the... what's his name? You know the one I mean? The one the shotgun.
Yes, yeah.
The guy with long hair that gets shot at the end.
Yeah, so
I think that's the leader guy.
This big bunch of bikers and there's a lot of them. When you first see it, it looks like they're just a few guys, maybe 8 to 10 in a tour
50.
bus. But yeah, there's easily...
I'd say about 50.
40, 50.
Yeah.
Good number of them. And they spy this mall in the distance. They see that it's got power, I think, is one of the key things, don't they? And they see the helicopter on the roof. So they know... They largely suspect that there's someone in there, and they radio ahead to no response from our main heroes. So,
but isn't Tom Savini like looking at the building, and there's that guy next to him? It's like everything that Tom Savini says, the guy just repeats.
Yeah, they got trucks.
Yeah, they got trucks.
He used those trucks to block it.
Yeah, trucks.
And
which reminds me of that guy from American Pie.
Yeah,
you don't score until you score, till you score. Sorry, go carry on. So Tom Savini, yes.
Yeah. So they're radioing the mall, so that our protagonists can hear what they're saying. They're saying pretty much just open,
share what you got with us.
Yeah, and we promise no one gets hurt. And they're all like laughing, like and it's like shh. It's like, okay, you know what? You guys just fucked up real bad.
Yeah, it's very much a bully tactic of give me all of your lunch money. Oh, you should have just said what you had, and now I'm going to take your lunch money.
Now we're just going to come and take it. Yeah.
Night falls, they descend, and you get this great parade of motorbikes coming down with all the headlights down the hill, the approach road to the mall. And then I think they've got their own large trailer truck that they're bringing, and there's a mini bus with some girls in it.
So I say there's like some camper vans and stuff.
That's it,
sort of thing, isn't it?
But it's only the bikes that go in the mall, isn't it?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And there's a trike.
Only a few.
Which is quite cool.
Yep. I think that's the leader guy.
That's the leader. Yeah.
Megatron.
And one of them finds one of these long, wide doors that's been shut off and goes, we can just shoot the lock and the whole thing will open. And apparently it just falls wide open. Obviously, it's enough to prevent the zombies coming in, but you get someone who knows what they're doing arrive. And they've got an instant portal of access to this entire mall, which has been previously cleared out of all zombies. So our 4 heroes, or 3 remaining heroes, are now hiding up in their little safe room area. They've walled off, so they know they're secreted, but they can just hear all hell breaking loose downstairs. So they think, well, shit, we need to try and protect what we've got. So they head out, rather interestingly, and try and lock down some of the shops with the shutters, try and turn some of the power off and disrupt this invading biker gang. Because
Peter's idea is like, don't engage, seal off what we can do, hide in the safe room. Obviously, just keep an eye on what's happening. And Flyboy is the one that kind of fucks it all up, doesn't he? Because he's getting a bit outraged that they've done all his hard work protecting the mall.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And he gets aggravated. All these people are now taking it in. All the zombies are in.
And he's done his rifle training, so he might actually shoot someone once in a while.
Yeah.
And they do that at some point, don't they? Later on, they like hide and start sniping a few of them off and whatnot.
They do, yeah. They head out and they try and take them on.
Flyboy starts off, doesn't he? He goes, "This is our place. It's ours."
Ah, yes, he does. Yeah, you're right.
And Pierre's just like, "What are you doing, Flyboy?" And then obviously Flyboy straight away shoots one of the guys, and then that's it.
That's what starts it off.
And Pierre's like, "All right, now Flyboy, we got a war."
They really do. They bring it. Well, they don't quite bring it on themselves. Obviously, these guys were going to go on the absolute rampage. But
but as I said, I think Pierre had the right idea. It's just like, right, just seal off what we can. We've got the safe room. Just keep an eye on them.
And as obviously these bikers are coming in, we've got zombies
coming in as well.
Coming in at the same time.
And during this, we have a very Benny Hill type moment, comical like montage of pies.
Yeah, then the bikers start pieing them or something.
Some proper wacky shit goes on here. Yeah,
it's like
custard pies. People get I mean, I don't remember the really like obese zombie gets knocked into one of the fountains, but he kind of weeble wobbles.
That's it. And he doesn't he fall in?
Yeah, he doesn't fold at the hips. He just
stays straight, doesn't he?
And just tips over his enormous.
He tips and glides.
Cracks me up every time.
But there's
the Harry Krishna zombie. I need to mention that as one of my favourite randoms.
Yeah, and there's a hippie guy getting sprayed in the face with like soda.
Oh yeah, like the spray bottle thing.
Yeah, but he's reacting to it. He's like,
very, very weird moments. It's like it's been thrown in as a moment of light relief, which it doesn't need. Yeah. But I think the only plus side to it, if you will, is it's another peak of mania in this up and down roller coaster of depression mania that they're suffering throughout the whole film.
Well, it's during the days when, because it's an independent film, so this is where filmmakers were, especially in the 60s, 70s, 80s, they were allowed to do what they want. There wasn't many studios telling them what to do back then.
Yeah.
And being that, I think that was just him saying, I'm just going to put it in just because why not? Because it's his film, he can do whatever the fuck he wants at the end of the day. And I think the way Romero did his films was he shot everything that he really needed to get shot. And it's mainly down to the editing that makes the film work. But he just shot any idea he had in his head. So right, just shoot it, kind of thing. You kind of see it when you watch the film. Like it's just a whole spectrum of ideas that's just come about, and it's the editing that makes the film.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a shame because it's such like a serious scene. These people are coming in, taking away what they got, and then all of a sudden you got these little bits of comedy to like. Should I take this seriously? I know it's a film about zombies and whatnot, but should I take this seriously now?
Well, this is where you can watch the
Agenda. I might give that a go. Yeah.
So like I said, it has a different feel to it, but it's the score that's different. It's not as good.
Yeah. One of my funny moments in that is the gangster guy that puts his arm in the blood meter.
The blood pressure.
Meter, that's it. It's like all this shit's going down. People are shooting at me, but I'll still have time to put my...
Again, I think
check my blood pressure.
Again, I think that's the Romero just saying, we'll put it in there because I can put it in there.
Yeah, I suppose as well.
It doesn't make sense, but fuck it.
It speaks to the difference between... a bit of organisation that's been created with a member of the SWAT and newscasters and pilots, and then this rabble that are just have no cause or forethought to survival beyond what they can ravage there and then.
Plus, George Romero did ask Tom Savini like the ideas of kills of how zombies should be killed.
There's some good ones in this as well.
Yeah, so basically all those kills, I think most of them are Tom Savini ideas, and I think that even the blood pressure one, I think that was an idea he had.
Yeah,
and obviously that. That we all have was like, why would a guy just do that? It's just like, fuck it, just film it.
Yeah,
because the idea is good.
It's in special effects display, I suppose, isn't it? Why not? If you've got someone who's doing that, then
the idea of like, if the guy's arm is severed, the blood pressure goes up on the machine.
The machete to the head is a good kill as well when he knocks him down straight on it.
Yeah, easy done.
There's an eyeball exploded somewhere.
Yeah,
the decapitation. The guy riding the bike just chops the head off.
So from what I remember, while this is all happening, we've got a zombie that's sort of found the secret room, was on the way to... He's gone past the wall. Yeah.
Has he? No, it hasn't found the room.
But he's sort of lingering in that area.
Here's a noise from the room.
That's it.
Yeah, there's definitely one that gets into the plant room at some point and Flyboy utterly fails to kill it. But I can't remember if that was earlier on. I think maybe that was, and partly why they walled it off.
No, it's right. He does because we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah. So while this is all happening, they're all sort of like attacking the place or not. Peter does manage to shoot Tom Savini in the end.
Yeah, well, a few others before that. Yeah, even Flyboy shoots a few people, but then Flyboy then shoots and then gets noticed. He's like, oh shit! So then he runs into the elevator, gets into the elevator rooftop, and starts climbing up the cables.
That's right.
Tries to hide and keep quiet. The two biker guys then go into the elevator, saying, "Where's he gone? Oh, he must be up there." They just start firing upwards.
That's right. They shoot him, don't they? He gets shot in the...
Which then grazes his arm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good scene. He's just basically holding his arm, like, and trying to not squeal.
That's right.
Pain. And he's proper shaking. And then they're like, he mustn't be up there. And they just fuck off pretty much. Flyboy then obviously goes back down into the elevator room. And then he's obviously refueling his gun.
That's it.
And then the door opens and more zombies come in.
Yeah, again, another classic reveal. The ding of the elevator, effectively one-armed protagonist now being shot in his either left or right, I can't remember, but basically can't operate the gun properly. Yeah. Ding, and then the doors slide open. Yeah. And is it Hare Krishna there that's like the front guy?
No, it's like two girls and one guy with a moustache. So they just literally just run towards the camera with arms.
Yeah, straight coming towards,
But it's as he's coming down from the elevator, because they get his leg first. They bite his leg first.
Yes.
And then once they bite his leg, they pull him down. And then they bite his neck. I think they even bite his arm as well at some point.
Yeah, there's a few good foam necks where people just full on sink their teeth and riff, and you got this squirt of blood underneath.
At this point, he manages to kick some out of the elevator, even shoots a few, and then the door's shut, and then he's pretty much bleeding out in the elevator from his mouth. Cuts to the next scene, and you got Peter in the rafters, or what you call them, the air vent.
Yes.
He's taking sniper shots. And that's when he sees Sex Machine, Tom
Savini. Yep. But he's sort of been surrounded by zombies at the time anyway, isn't he?
Oh, he's having a good ass murder kill at the moment.
Yeah.
He's reveling in the absolute chaos, and
he's using knives, a sword. Is he the one that flies off the rope?
Yes, he is.
Is that him?
Yeah, he's him diving off. Yeah,
with the sledgehammer. Yeah, nuts. And then obviously he sees Peter. I think shoots his knife off first, which
okay, yeah.
It's just like that motherfucker. So he's like, he wants to go up and find him. But obviously, as Tom Savini goes up there, he's fighting up a shitload of zombies.
That's right.
He's pretty much surrounded, isn't he?
Yeah,
but he's not in fear, from what I remember. He's just like enjoying, like just stabbing in the neck and stuff.
Yeah,
that's right.
He's kind of realised the level that these zombies operate.
Yeah.
So as much as he's got no plan, he knows that he can, as long as he can stay moving, which I think is one of the key things that we found throughout.
Yeah. And then
they are slow, they are dumb, they can be easily tricked. Obviously, they had earlier on in the movie, they had the tactic of drawing them all up to the upstairs of the department store.
Yeah.
And they attract them as many as they can up there. They then sneak downstairs and
get
out of the bottom, and then do the reverse to get back to the top floor whilst keeping the hordes kind of occupied elsewhere. So they know that if they keep moving and they're quick enough, they'll be fine. And Tom's character takes advantage of that, but then does start this hunt for Peter, who is caught climbing back into the hidden area that they've walled off. They're like, there must be something going on here that we're not immediately seeing.
Yeah, and there's that. They both stare at each other, knowing like we know where each other are. It's like almost like a gun duel. He's reaching for his gun, about to shoot him, but then Roger gets to him first. Roger. Peter.
Yeah.
Peter gets to him first, and blows him away, and then Tom Savini, it's his own stunt. Jumps off the balcony and falls into the water fountain.
Nice.
And that's the end of Tom Savini. And then the next scene is zombies trying to get into the elevator door. One of them managed to accidentally press the button. Door opens, and then you got Flyboy looking like the best zombie ever.
Oh, it's
he's
such a good shot.
Yeah, he does that well.
The head hung low.
The gun is still like on the fingertips. His foot is dented as well. The way he walks,
I don't know
brilliant.
how he does the foot thing, but he is the best zombie.
Yeah,
like he dedicated that role massively. I don't know how the foot thing. I'm still bemused by.
And he's the one that remembers the secret room, isn't it?
Yeah.
He starts heading towards it, doesn't he?
Yeah. And that's where he sees the Hare Krishna guy. The Hare Krishna zombie was there because he heard a noise.
That's right.
But obviously, there's a wall there, so he knows that there's something around. And that's when Flyboy comes in and decides to tear the wall down. And he asks, he's pretty much grasping the wall.
Yeah.
Going,
It's only a thin layer of plasterboard, effectively, isn't it?
And essentially, he does, because he indicates to the zombies, he points to the wall with his gun hanging off his finger, which is pretty cool. So he's commanding the zombies to follow him and take down the wall. He's almost become like a smart zombie compared to the other ones. It's very strange. I don't know how he became this super zombie.
Yeah, I wonder whether maybe the idea was it because it was such a fresh change from Living to Dead, and because he was so familiar with the surroundings because that's kind of what they're.
Oh, because that quote from earlier was just like, why they come to the mall? Because it's familiar. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
it's a callback to that. Oh,
Yeah.
it's their last. It's their the familiar memory, and his was going
The
back
secret
up
room.
there.
Yeah.
Perfect. There we go. So yeah, and they tear down the wall. So tear down the wall, and then go up to the stairs where what was that room called?
It's like the safe room, isn't it?
Safe room. Yeah. Peter is then telling Fran to get up to the rooftop and get the helicopter started. And I think he tells, like, if the zombies come up, don't wait for me, just go.
Yeah, it's like a tension build, isn't there, isn't it?
But at this point, I think the rest of the raiders are starting to leave because the zombie volume is
starting to increase, isn't it? Yeah.
Because a number of them have been killed by the humans, and then the volume of zombies has increased to a point where it's becoming more dangerous to stay than not. The biker gang effectively leaves. But the zombie number now, the horde, is swept in as it's been gathering outside for however many days or potentially even weeks. You never really get a sense of how long they've been in there.
And so it's the tension between who gets there first, Peter or the zombies, really, isn't it? Which turns out, obviously, doesn't he shoot Flyboy? He gets there in time and shoots Flyboy in the head.
There's definitely a point where Francine's trying to climb up onto this raised ladder.
And then isn't
climbing up the boxes, and one of the zombies. I've got a feeling it was a Harry Krishna guy.
It is, yes, it is, because I remember him reaching up and trying to. Yeah,
just on his own. He's the first one who's wedged his way in through the blocked door.
Yeah.
Then comes up and you got the classic grasping at the ankles as she's trying to get back onto the roof.
And then Peter's just telling her to get up there and don't wait for him, and he's pretty much contemplating suicide at this point because he's figured it's done.
That's right. Yes,
because he's lost hope.
Yeah,
like I said, from the call back to that scene from the news guy, the eye patch guy shooting Roger. Like hope is all lost pretty much. She's at the helicopter, which we forgot to mention. Flyboy taught her how to fly the helicopter.
Yes, that's right.
Rather crucially.
Yeah, whilst they were living their life in the mall. Yeah.
And then obviously Peter's trying to lure the zombies away from the ladder so that they don't follow Fran.
Yeah.
So he goes into his room, locks himself in. He's got pointing a gun at his head, thinking, right, as soon as they come in, so I'm going to just blow my head off. And then he's still contemplating because Fran, I think you can hear the propellers are still there. I think he's waiting for her to fly off. But
yes, that's right.
Even though he's told her, to fly off if the zombies come up, then she obviously hasn't. So then he's just like, that's the contemplation.
Right.
Then he says, fuck it. Then he becomes superhero.
He does.
Like, fuck this shit. Shoots all the zombies in front of him, beats them off. Not like that.
Interesting.
Not literally,
beats them away. Right? Then climbs up the ladder, gets an helicopter, jumps onto the, what do you call them? The leg of the helicopter.
Yeah.
Or the ski, whatever you call it.
Yeah, and then he gets an helicopter, and then, they fly away. And
without a plan, they just...
I think that's what even they say. So where do they go?
That is the last line. Is it, where do we go? Just far from here or something, isn't it?
Far from here, yeah. Like, all right, let's go.
Then that's it.
It's a relatively satisfying conclusion, I think, for that.
Yeah. It's ambiguous to the point where you can say...
Like the black guy lived in this one.
It's up to you. It's ambiguous.
True. Yeah. I mean, because we don't know where they end up in the end, do we? So,
I mean, the interpretation is they're fucked either way. Like I said, even from the fuel, I think they even mentioned the fuel. There's not much.
Yeah.
As well, just before they fly off.
So having that resignation of we're screwed, whatever we do.
Yeah.
We may as well try and make the most of what we've got there.
Yeah, and that was the point midway through the film with the whole eye patch guy. Like, there's no hope, and then it's like, they might as well just try. Not give up, pretty much. And that's the message, like, don't give up. But I reckon they crashed and burned. Fuck them.
Ooh. Interesting.
Especially with their shitty attitude,
They're flying at night. She's not fully trained properly. Saying just learn how to fly.
Yeah.
They've got no fucking feel. They're flying at night.
It's true.
Yeah, it's not the best escape, but it's their only escape. But yeah, up to you.
Yeah, Dawn of the Dead, that's it.
Or they fly into an island and live happily ever after. Yeah.
Yes.
Funny you mentioned that.
Go on.
I I don't know if you want me to mention this now or not, but apparently,
go for it.
and I'm just double checking the details if my phone works, that at least one of the characters is going to be in Night of the Living Dead 2, the official sequel to Night of the Living Dead, which is coming out.
Oh, they're not doing this
next
as well
year
now.
or after.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Really?
I'm so.
I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah, I thought I'd best look up before I arrive.
But they had to wait till George died to do it.
They're doing it with everything. Halloween, they did it with. It's like, I'm bored of this. Stop making sequels and saying, right, none of it's canon anymore. It doesn't. It's
The
like,
official sequel.
you have to
Aren't everyone from the Night of the Living Dead
why is
dead now or
everything-
something?
Yeah, no, I'm just. It's boring. I'm fucking annoyed by
Yeah,
it.
it's an interesting choice, but I'm sure sorry, I can't get my details to load up. But I'm sure at least one of the characters
Pointless.
is going to be in this.
It's shocking because I never knew this movie was even happening.
I only
So
found out
I
in the
didn't
last
know that
week.
either.
I'm doing a bit of
But it doesn't
research.
surprise me because of the lack of all these other films I've done. They've done the same thing with like Halloween. I think there's another one as well that's coming out soon. I can't remember what it is, but
I'm sure there's
the
one.
Texas Chainsaw have done it with. I mean, it's just like,
Yeah, which apparently they don't want to put in a cinema now. Netflix bought it, didn't they?
yeah,
The Leatherface one, new Leatherface movie.
yeah, and then that's even like the real.
Anyway, off topic. That was number 2. So obviously 7 years later, 1985, we've got the last one in the trilogy, which is Day of the Dead. This one used to be my favourite for years.
Yeah.
Still is mine.
Really did.
Still.
And it has one of my favourite. Do you know what? When we did that episode, the best movie villains of all time, there's a guy in this I wish I put in that list, and I completely forgot about him. But anyway, let's start with number 3. So again, totally different time, totally different era.
Yep.
This is it takes place in Florida.
Yeah, it's in the Everglades kind of area.
That's it.
And
obviously it starts with the helicopter flying over some deserted town, city. But this time we actually do have a proper full-on, lady protagonist in this one this time now. It's actually gone full circle now and
Dr.
changed
Sarah
over.
Bowman is very much the lead in this one.
But what before that, I forgot to mention the opening before that with the calendar.
Yeah.
That is... I still forget about that. It's like when it comes up, it's like, oh yeah, that's how this movie starts. And just those hands all coming through the wall is just that's timing.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Awesome
Yeah, so going back to obviously the deserted town and the but that the way this movie starts with obviously it being deserted and we get to see we hear some zombies and whatnot, and then that newspaper article that the wind pushes onto the
dead
and the dead walk or something like that, and then we see that I think it's is it a puppet? It must be. It's got half the jaw missing, and then the title comes up, Day of the Dead.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good makeup. It's a guy with missing jaw.
Yeah, I mean, it must be like a puppet model, something like that. But was this Savini again?
Yeah, it's
definitely.
easily his best work as this film. I think the makeup in this is ridiculously it's timeless. I think there's all the budget definitely went on this makeup. I think.
So the world that we find ourselves in now, 7 years later on from Dawn, utter desolation, abandoned cities. As I say, they're down. I don't think they're Miami, but definitely Everglades area.
Yeah.
There's a random alligator on the
Yes,
street.
of course.
With the mouth, if you notice, is wrapped up. With the fish in there.
Is it a zombie alligator or is it just a random?
I don't know
one?
because there's some sort of red thing sticking out where his eye. I don't know if that's maybe a bit of flesh hanging out, but his mouth is definitely taped up with some sort of netting.
Yeah.
I never noticed that.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, I might. I'll probably, I'll see it next time I watch that.
So yeah, obviously, what's his name? Well, this is the problem. The character names, apart from
So
Rose,
it's Sarah and I can't think of the other guys.
this annoying fucker. What's his name?
Sarah and her partner,
That's the boyfriend?
Miguel.
This is what I'm saying. It's like it's never established if they're boyfriend and girlfriend in this movie.
Yeah,
they kind of make they've had sex or something, but it's
more
just
it's more like he's a patient and she's like the fucking
yeah,
carer.
exactly.
Well, that's part of I think that's part of the point of it.
That's
Is
what I
that
think
he's
it is.
reached this point in his head where he's like, oh, I don't know. He's really
mentally
struggling.
unstable.
Yeah.
So they're part of some sort of army group, scientist group that are checking for survivors.
Yeah, there is a research team, and they have been assigned a military platoon, although it's not that many, certainly not remaining, to actually go on and fully research these zombies. So they're going out in the field to collect, to find more samples, to see who's still out there. So Sarah and Miguel are out in the streets trying to find these people with the aforementioned hello. Hello. We've then got John, who's the helicopter pilot in this instance.
The Irishman.
The Jamaican.
Oh, that guy's voice it cracks me up. I'm not going to even go close to trying to do an impression. It'd be rude. And you also have the amazing Bill, who is the Scottish guy.
Irish.
Irish, perhaps. Yeah.
Irish. Jesus, Mary, Joseph.
The whiskey.
Celtic.
Half and half.
And these guys, so these guys are out in the field, and soon then to return to where we don't really ever escape from, which is this bunker underground, which is effectively controlled by this remaining military unit that have been assigned to the researchers, led by is it the guy who's leading, Captain Rhodes?
Yes,
it's a colonel, is it?
No, it's Captain. He's right. He's Captain Rhodes. Yeah,
recently come into power because upon return to the campsite, they find out that
Colonel Smith had died.
That's right.
So that's where you got
and under his command, two of the most utter bastard fuckers, Private Steele and Private Rickles.
Amazing those two though.
Utter
annoying laugh. Most annoying laugh. So much like the first one, it is very claustrophobic and one location only, but much more bleaker and fucking just dirty. It just feels grim. The whole film just feels grubby.
It does,
yeah, totally.
That's a really good description,
and I fucking love it because that is essentially the tone of what a zombie film should be like. I think that it captures the essence of what a zombie film is. The perfect shade. I think that's why it failed. It didn't do well, did it? The third one.
No, because people complained there wasn't enough zombies in it.
There
was more story.
They weren't the same as the second one. They weren't another Dawn of the Dead. They wanted more entertainment. This one was more, I think, more biased and to the point.
This was
totally.
Telling more of the human story or survival.
And as a trilogy, like I said, it's like it goes the whole as one film. Like the first film's the first act, the second act, and the third act. The final act is fucking just grim and fucking horrible. But
they've reached that point of desperation.
Yeah, well, because as it's continued, I mean, as the films are prolonged, it's getting worse and worse and worse. None of it gets better and better as the films go on. So, now we reach the end point of where society and humanity is totally just at its lowest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we reach this base that, like I said, Simon says underground, and we've got like a crew of half scientists, half military, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where we've come across a character called Dr. Frankenstein, who's trying to bring zombies back as to recognising things and humanise them, sort of thing.
Yeah, he's partly trying to work out what causes them to turn, but then also trying to work out if there's any way of reversing the effect.
That's right.
So therefore, researching what they respond to, whether they can be trained, what human traits are left within them.
Yeah.
And obviously, he needs specimens for this job.
Yeah.
So how does he get those specimens?
They have this cave dwell that they're in, which they've cut off from zombies being able to enter.
Yep.
But they have this one foyer of a doorway, which they have a trap door. So one zombie can come in, they pull the trap down, they trap the zombie, they put a noose around its neck that's tied to this pole, and then they lure him out.
Yeah. One by one, isn't it?
One by one, yeah.
It's almost like a cattle gate.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect, yeah. But they're not always there. They're always like in the darkness at the ends.
So it seems to be like a cross between a bunker and an abandoned mine.
It's
this huge dark expanse.
Yeah,
which again it's a good cheap way of going. Well, fuck, there's danger out there because you can't see more than 30 feet, so there could be 1,000. There could be the 3 that you can see, but we don't need to film them.
No,
we're telling you there's a threat, which is
so they have to summon them over by making lurid gestures, I guess, and like vulgar words. You puss buckets, I think is one.
Man, you fucking puss buckets.
Piece of shit.
Come and get a piece of this.
Yeah, big, fucking A, biggest meat in the cave.
That's it, biggest meat in the cave. But at the same time this is happening, obviously Sarah's there helping him out, and then her boyfriend is sort of
patient. I'm not calling him patient.
Let's go patient. It's a bit odd than being boyfriend girlfriend thing. He's not like slept for like 24 hours, and he's a loose cannon at the moment, really, isn't he? Sort of thing.
Shakes. Sweating like a piss.
But yeah, one of the zombies escapes. It's not actually his fault because it snaps or something. Or is that later?
That's later.
Is that later?
Yeah.
Or
I'm trying to think what happens at the first bit. It's been such a long time since I've seen it.
Or he doesn't hold it right. I can't remember. Something
Doesn't hold it
happens
right.
and he's like, they all blame him, don't they?
No, he drops it.
The quote-unquote bad guys, the bad privates, are insisting that he comes on this recovery mission to collect the fresh samples.
Yeah.
So she's like, no, he's like fucked.
Sarah's like saying, I want to do this. She's like, I can do it. And they're like being very misogynistic and saying, no, you're a woman. Fuck off, you can't do it. And then pretty much saying, like, chicken shit, shaky man, you can fucking do it. Pretty much.
Yeah, because I love how they they pick on him. And then she's like, just let him go, goddammit. And she's got the gun. And she goes, oh, shut your mouth. No, I'll cut you in half, she says. It's like, how with a gun? she says that. Let him go or I'll cut you in half. But yeah, obviously he lets him go, whatnot. And she deals with him. She sedates him just to calm him down, whatnot.
Yeah, because he drops the pole. I remember now.
Yeah, then obviously we kind of skipped a bit with the whole Dr. Frankenstein thing, and
Rhodes having an argument.
That's it.
Yeah,
and there's a really, really cool effect where the body sort of leans over and all the guts pop out. Do you remember that scene? Yeah, that's a really cool bit. Awesome. Then we have the big meeting. It's like a meeting or some sort.
There's quite a few council meetings they have. I can't remember which is the order they go in. This is
where I get confused with.
There's the one you're talking about, though. There's like a key element fairly early on which ramps the tension up to a peak level where it remains pretty much throughout. Where Rhodes, the captain of the military outpost, is basically saying, "You guys do exactly what I tell you, or you're dead. I will shoot you.
I'll shoot you
right now."
Plain and simple.
So most of the tension comes from him and not the zombies in the film. He's very much, his anger on screen is just so fucking good. I love it. It's just so fun. Then obviously Frankenstein comes in, the professor, and he comes in. I think they're having an argument about
I wanted you here on time.
Yeah, here on time. You know, it's like, what are we doing? Are we collecting samples? It's like, we should just blow these fuckers away and get the fuck out. And then that's when Professor Frankenstein comes in, like all bloodied up, wanting his food.
That's it.
I require some food.
Is there any food?
Yeah. So again, they've been here for an undisclosed amount of time.
Yeah.
Whatever research has happened so far has not really paid off.
No.
They're running low on resources. The resource obviously being
men
zombies
as well
that they've collected.
They even mentioned men. They're running out of men.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there's been a number of losses of the army grunts, I think, have been taken out by accidents and misadventure, whether they're trying to essentially, it's definitely implied, if not directly stated, that in gathering these samples for the research team, they're slowly losing men themselves.
So is this research worth it?
Yeah, is this huge argument of, do we continue the research at cost, or do we blow the fuck out of everything that we've got and get the hell out of here?
Get the hell out of it,
They're both right and both wrong from both sides. Each have their own point that you kind of agree with and don't agree with. So the point of this whole clash between these two rivals, instead of people trying to work together, they're just it's just a continuum of this madness and insanity, just continuing. Sarah can see this. I think even was it the Irishman,
Bill,
the pilot,
and the Jamaican guy, he can.
They know exactly where this is going.
They're the small element of calm, although there's still a lot of emotion and tension in them as well. Which
Sarah's is in the middle of all of it. So you really feel for her as a protagonist, because obviously she's a tough character, but then she's very vulnerable at the same time.
Yeah, she's the lone female. I don't think there's any other female characters in there.
She's all
they're literally underground. There is no escape other than this huge cargo lift, which they use to
which takes them up to the helicopter, doesn't it?
That's right. Yeah. There's this feeling, as you said at the beginning, this claustrophobia of not only am I trapped physically, but I'm trapped mentally and emotionally by having no choice but to continue with what I'm doing under this really high pressure.
Which Rhodes, all by Rhodes, to be honest.
But like you said, you see his point from it as well, because he's thinking of his guys at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And like you said, he's losing them day by day and whatnot.
The superiority complex has got in. And
totally. So while this is all happening,
what the fuck is going on? They're dead.
fucking dead. He's amazing. He's got just some of the best one-liners.
What was that Professor says about how do you expect to get rid of them? Do you expect to blow the piss out of them?
Blow the piss out of them.
Blow the piss out of all of them.
So again, while I was saying while this is all happening, we get introduced to a new character that's been tested on, and
Bob.
Well done, yeah.
I love Bob.
Bob's cool.
He's great.
Doesn't he name him after someone?
Oh,
Doesn't Dr. Frankenstein name him after a surgeon or something he used to know?
Maybe
It used to be called Bub or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, Bub's amazing, man, and he's the guy that's
his wife's dad, I think,
something like that. Yeah, I can't remember what it was now.
This amazing doctor, and everyone just called him Bub.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's like, would you know someone who'd be called Bub?
I think it's the first iconic zombie that you grew to like.
So this is initially the zombie that they are getting results from, isn't it?
He's the best.
There's literally a part where they put a Walkman on him or something, show him a book, and then Dr. Frankenstein goes up to him and, shows him a couple things. And then, Sarah Blakely said, well, look at him. He's not paying attention to him. He doesn't want to. The zombie's not trying to lash out and kill him. So they're getting some sort of result out of Bub, aren't they?
Yeah, it showed a degree of character and understanding beyond
it's the most
random craving for flesh.
It's the most humanized zombie, and it's the first one that's ever been controlled in the movie.
Yeah.
So,
and then obviously Dr. Frankenstein feeds him, and that's when Captain Rhodes comes in and questions, where are you getting this from, isn't it?
That's a bit later on, yeah.
Doesn't Bub salute at him or something?
Yeah. You want me to salute
he
that?
recognises the uniform.
That's it.
You want me to salute that walking pile of pus? Salute my ass.
Salute my ass. It's why she got on the top 5, man.
Yeah. What are you supposed to do, Doc? Teach them tricks.
That's it.
They're dead.
Fucking dead.
Fucking expendable.
So yeah, again, it's a question of, do we continue with this? He's still, even though there are results coming in, Captain Rhodes is still not happy with what he's getting, is he?
The results are from one teacher's pet, which is Bub.
Yeah.
Everything else. I mean, there's before I mentioned the one of the army guys he got killed by one of the zombies, and he's kept the bodies and kept the.
So that was the colonel, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was the colonel that died beforehand,
That's it,
and
Smith,
they don't know about that.
No.
That it's him. Because
Sarah
said,
knows.
Sarah knows. Yeah, because she saw the dog tag or something, didn't she?
Yeah, and then she saw the head. Takes the
That's
bag
right.
off.
Yeah.
Do you know what would happen if they fucking find out?
Why is she British?
One of a number of very cool prosthetics or special effects is literally just a head with a spinal cord.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, they literally could have just got a proper human guy head and then just done that whole on the table shit.
I think for the head they did.
No, they just robotic. Because it's on its side.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And then later on there's just a cerebellum with a spinal cord, and that's obviously just a piece of whatever.
The wires are connected with the brains is still there, but the whole head is gone. And then the electrodes are attached to the brain.
Attached to the brain, aren't they?
They turn electrodes to move the arm up and down.
Yeah. And again, the doctor, Dr. Logan is his real name, but everyone calls him
Frankenstein, yeah.
Again, makes reference to the same thing we've heard I think we hear in Dawn of the Dead as well, that they don't really consume all of something. They're driven to it unknowingly.
It's an instinct,
Yeah, but they rarely consume all of it. They'll do a significant degree of damage to a body to kill it. They'll then leave something having satiated this hunger, which doesn't give them any nutrients, because as we noted, there's one that all the guts fall out and it makes no difference.
Yeah.
But then that's, again, restated as a cause of the rampant spread of this zombie virus, effectively, is that anyone that's attacked is really utterly consumed, so they then turn themselves, and it spreads and spreads and spreads, which is why outside on the surface, as they're landing the helicopter, debating whether to refuel there and then or wait till dark.
That's right.
Because there's a horde of zombies pressing on the outer edges of this army site, and they are on the verge of crushing the fence already.
And this is the point where I jump the gun now, isn't it? And
so
they go for specimens again, and this is when the collar snaps now, isn't it?
Yeah, which isn't his fault. Which he says,
I didn't do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, so he fucked up again. Only this time it's cost more because one of the guys get bit.
And he gets bit as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Because
Runs
Sarah,
off like him. Runs off.
Sarah cuts his arm off, doesn't she?
Yeah. That's the first time. I think that's the first time you've seen someone get bit by a zombie and then have it actually
Straight away, yeah.
Cured to a sense, to the point where he doesn't get infected. Because that's the first time any zombie film's done.
That's right. Yes, you're right. Yeah. Because
once you're bit, you're done.
Yeah. Then they cauterize it straight afterwards, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, not straight afterwards. They take him to the Jamaicans, but don't they?
They literally cut his arm off and then they burn it straight away.
Oh, they do it straight away. I can't remember. Sorry.
Yeah. Before it gets through the bloodstream and reaches his heart or brain or whatever. So that's why they do it quick.
But it doesn't. I'm getting confused now. So they escape to the Jamaicans. I keep saying Jamaican. Caravan one, not. But Captain Rhodes finds out about it at the same time.
One of the quote unquote bad guys, one of the privates, is
dead.
That's right. Yeah.
Infected and killed, and there's this huge confrontation again between Steele and Rickles and our protagonist.
That's it.
Yeah. So they retreat to where the Scottish guy and the Jamaican guy have got their own little caravan, essentially a mobile home that they set up, and behind it they've set up this nice little backdrop of a pool.
Bar.
It's like a beach, isn't it?
Yeah. So they're trying to make the best of underground living by pretending they're somewhere else. And it's at this point, you see the arm get chopped off just below or just above the elbow, and then immediately cauterized with a flaming torch, which is literally just a rag on a stick doused in petrol, which would probably do you more harm than good. I think you need a hot metal plate to cauterize cleanly.
Yeah. Surely,
But it's a movie, isn't they? And then Rhodes comes in, it's like, right, this guy is going to get fucking killed. One of my men got killed.
He's the reason why my guy got killed. I want him dead.
Yeah. And then Sarah's just like, I got to the wound in time. And then he's about to shoot her, and then I think it's the Jamaican guy and the Scottish guy pull a gun on him. There's a standoff.
Yeah.
And then the vision is finally there.
And he's like, you can't shoot me because I'm your pilot. So this is worthless, really, this argument, isn't it? I can't remember what happens after that.
They settle the differences. Well, I don't know what they
There's
say.
a very uneven truce is drawn for that moment. The military guys retreat, and it's left with a bit of a relaxation period. I think at that point,
breaks down, doesn't she?
Yeah. But I think even at that point, Miguel, who's had his arm chopped off, already starts to leg it, does he? Or is that slightly later?
That's later, isn't it? Yeah.
Because then I think he's knocked out by this point. But Sarah breaks down, and I think the Jamaican guy covers her. It's the first time she's been proper vulnerable in the whole film. So she's realised everything's just become too much for her to bear, and she's now broken down. But then she's comforted by the Jamaican guy and the Scottish guy. It's annoying that I can't remember their names.
No, neither can I. No.
I hate saying
I hate saying it.
John and Bill.
John and Bill. Okay, there you go.
Oh, there we go.
J and B. All right. So, they're awfully confident. And then this is when we get to Sarah checking up on Frankenstein, and he's like working on with Bub, and then he's getting fed.
That's where I jumped the gun. Yeah, sorry.
So he's getting fed food, and I think it's Bill, the Scottish guy. He's the one that says, "What is that?"
That's it.
He was like, "Where's he getting that meat from?" And Sarah's just like, "Oh my god!" She knows.
She's clocked. Yeah.
As she turns around, Rhodes is right there. Same. And then obviously Rhodes walks in, realizing that Frankenstein has been feeding Bub some of his men.
Some of his men, wasn't it? Yeah.
And
then what happens after that?
Well, he pushes Frankenstein towards the door, and he's like begging, pleading, saying, "You must listen to me. You must listen to me." He's like, "Listen, this,"
and blows the piss out of him.
Blows the piss out of him with a shitload of bullets, and
he literally puts the full mag in that guy. That is like a brutal way to go.
I think the budget for squibs on this film is
just amazing.
Yeah. He's gone. He's out of the picture.
And then that's kind of the trigger for the rest of
and that's it.
Everything else to break.
The army is now in control.
Yep, that's right.
Situation.
Yeah, research is done.
Research is fucking gone. That's it. Rhodes is now finally in command, and he wants to get the fuck out.
And he effectively exiles them to the beyond the barrier area of the bunker where the zombies are.
Yeah. So rather than just shoot them, he decides to put them with the zombies, essentially, and make them suffer.
Which is quite a cruel quite cruel.
Yeah,
Wasn't what I was trying to say, but it's
But
quite cruel.
That's right. Yeah, he throws him. He puts him out into the
Yeah.
line, doesn't he? Yeah,
throws him over,
but in a sense, it's giving them a chance, I guess.
I really like that next few minutes though, because there's this concentration, very low light. They've got a torch or two between them.
Yeah,
there's
because
a couple of red lights that are mounted into the walls.
some good lighting there.
Really creepy. It's close to a horror movie in the traditional sense.
Do you ever notice the traditional bats, the rubber bats in the background? I love those.
Yeah.
Really cliche sort of thing.
Because Bill and Sarah are put into that room where all the zombies are. And obviously they've kept the pilot, Joe.
Yes.
Joe? Yep. John. So yeah, obviously because they need John to fly him out. Then obviously the zombies are coming. Bill's like drinking his whiskey. The zombies are coming towards him. He's like, right, I think I'm going to have to run through him. Then he obviously grabs the shovel.
That's right.
Whacks one of the zombies and then they run right through him. Rose then shouts at him. I think he says like, "That's it, run, you fucking lunatics."
That's it. Yeah, because there's this big standoff, isn't there, between the pilot saying, "I'm not going to fly for you if you put him in there."
Yeah, and then he puts him in there.
Still does it regardless.
Rose really doesn't give a shit at this point.
Exactly.
So I think then John the pilot eventually goes to join them. He's like, "Oh, I'm not flying for you guys. Fuck you. I'm going to go into the zombies effectively."
Yeah, manages.
He knocks out Rhodes, doesn't he? Because he takes his guns. And there is a point where he's going to shoot him, isn't he? But he doesn't. He, like you said, he goes and helps his friends, doesn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't want to be just like Rhodes. So he does the right thing by just leaving him, taking away the weapons. So what more? You've pretty much done what you need to do. So then he goes off to help and find Bill and Sarah. And at this point, this is when the patient with the severed arm has woken up and is now descended to the.
He's gone topside, hasn't he? Near where the helicopter was and the gate is, isn't it? Yeah.
And he becomes like a religious figure almost.
Yeah, it's very odd because he's just like
he's like the body of Christ. It's like a symbolism of like he's the Jesus or something. Like he goes
he's essentially the guy who lets him in, isn't he?
Yeah, he opens the gates and all these like thousands of zombies pretty much follow him, and then he walks them towards the platform, which is going to lower them down to the base, isn't it? Which he's then holding the button that presses. If you press the button, that's
right. And then he sort of crawls down, doesn't he? And just lets
he does this pray to God thing.
Yeah.
Because it's the sky, and then lays down, has the zombies eats at him, and then like he waits until there's enough zombies on the platform, so he's getting eaten for quite a bit of time, like about
it went on longer than I realised that.
Yeah, and he's like getting his throat bitten, his chest, his arm, everything's getting ripped the fuck off, and he's like holding his composure somehow until he's waiting until all the zombies get on there, and then there's enough on there, and then he presses the button, and then all the zombies.
I love how there's like a perfect amount. Like if there were shitloads of zombies, they'd be falling down as soon as that platform starts coming down.
I always wanted them to start tossing,
to start dropping down. Yeah.
I think that if they filmed it today, they've done CGI and they would have done.
Of course, of course.
One kind of falls down before all of them. I think there's only one zombie that's like falls to the floor before it stops.
Oh really? I don't remember.
One does it. One falls down.
I mean, as far as I know, it was a legit cargo platform. So safety wise, that's like 9 tons of pressure. You need to stay the hell away from it.
Yeah, but one definitely falls down before all of them, and then they just all once they're down.
That's it. All hell breaks loose.
Yeah, the
reaction as well. When
the defense was beyond that lightweight perimeter fence. The defense was this cargo lift. That was the barrier. Once they're in the bunker, they're in, and that you might have an odd door that you can close, but there's no real other line of defense. You start then getting these smaller confrontations as people are hunted down. There's some of the military guys. I mean, there's not a vast number. There's
only a few of them really left, isn't there?
Even when we arrive,
there was another scientist guy with glasses.
There was a more sensible
I can't remember.
guy.
Oh no, because Rhodes shoots him, doesn't he? Rhodes shoots him. Yeah, I was thinking, does the zombies get him? Rhodes shoots him.
Rhodes probably kills more of the people we see than the zombies.
Do. Yeah,
he's the biggest threat in the whole film.
But the zombies do get some of the best kills. I'm sure you'll both remember that really iconic one where a guy gets separated torso from his legs.
Rhodes does.
That's Rhodes. That's Rhodes. Yeah, because Bud gets loose, doesn't he? And finds a gun
they've been trying to train him to shoot this pistol, and obviously with no ammo in it during the training, and everyone assumed that Logan Frankenstein was mad. But Bub, obviously with some previous military training, as they reference, then gets hold of this gun.
Yeah, like shoots him in the leg or the gut or the arm or something. I can't remember.
In the arm.
Yeah, almost perfectly disables him and leads them to this horde of zombies who then full on.
That's it, because he gets to a double door and he's like, "Come on, like follow me." And then once he opens, he's just covered in zombies.
Yeah,
and says the famous line when he gets once he gets eaten. What's he say?
Choke on them.
Yeah, such a badass line.
Yeah,
but that was apparently such a difficult thing to do with the splitting.
I bet it was.
They used real cow guts for that scene.
Like they'd gone off, or
they kept in the freezer, but obviously because it warmed up during the scene, it stank.
Yeah,
so that's real cow guts they used.
It was grim and highly effective.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Grizzly. Oh, I forgot the other guys getting killed before Rhodes.
The guy with the annoying laugh.
Oh, he gets the best, one of the second best kills in the
Doesn't
film.
he like?
So
his voice go, "Oh!"
Yeah, so it's,
when he dies.
Yeah, so there's about a few zombies that dig inside his throat.
Yeah,
and then they slowly rip his head apart. But because
that's right. Yeah,
as he's screaming, obviously his vocals are being clawed through.
That's right.
So then it's basically it's easy how they did it. They just had a guy screaming, and they've got to use it as a tape because they record on a tape machine, and then just rewound it quite fast. Yeah. But yeah, it looks good. And then
definitely,
And then I'm not sure about the biting off the fingers because it looks so rubbery at that point. I'm just like, I mean, fingers are fucking. I mean, just like no.
Yeah.
It would take a lot to bite some fingers off, and it's just done in one chomp.
There's a distinct lack of underlying bone structure in all of the dismemberments throughout the series, really.
Well, to be honest, I mean, either the zombies either have super strong fingers and teeth. That good, or they're superhuman almost. But I know there's that thing where the human muscles can do stuff. It's just our brains that stop us from actually doing it.
That's right. Yeah.
So I think that's the mentality of like how they can rip for us easily or bite fingers.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
I think that's where the brain comes in. With their brain dead. So.
No, you're right. I was fascinated to find out a while ago that when people get electrocuted and they reportedly jump clean across the room, it's because all of their muscles contract at full impact.
Yeah.
And it's just unlocking the power that the potential we don't know is in there. So sure.
Essentially, we can bite off our fingers. It's our brains. That
especially if you've got lockjaw. Like, Jesus Christ.
Exactly,
huge biting power.
Yeah.
So whilst all this is happening, they're still in the tunnels trying to escape. Sarah and Bob.
Yeah, and then they get
Bob, Bill, whatever it is.
Yeah. So they fight up the zombies. There's one zombie that comes towards him. I think Bill's got the shovel.
This is my favourite kill in this as well. Yeah.
So he knocks the zombie to the ground, and then he uses the shovel and stabs him in the middle of his mouth.
That's right.
And then digs through his head, and then slowly scrapes forwards.
That's right.
And then the head just goes.
It's great.
Which they use in Brain Dead, do you remember? And then he slides across the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and then you see the head upside down. The head's upside down, the eyes are still moving.
That's right, yeah. It's like, for its time, that was a damn good prosthetic kill.
Yeah.
But then don't they find like a ladder that leads up to the surface of the helicopter or whatnot?
Yeah, like an escape hatch, effectively.
They reunite with John.
Yep.
And
they all just head off, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then they fly off into an island. You have the first happy ending.
That's right, yes, you do.
But is it a dream sequence? Because you got to remember all the scenes before it, she was dreaming about being on the beach.
That's right.
So it's
entirely... there's 2 or 3 scenes, isn't there, where it looks like a normal, quiet time for her, and then suddenly...
Yeah, it seems too good to be true, that ending, so...
All with the calendar
so
in the head.
It's ambiguous enough for you to...
Make your mind.
Yeah, it's less ambiguous than the Dawn of the Dead one, where it's just like, you can make any scenario from there.
Sure.
But because you've got the interpretation of like the dream sequences before that, it's kind of like the Joker film. You just have your own interpretation.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You could say that's what happened. Yeah, I reckon that's what did happen. But then afterwards, zombies came.
Yeah.
Inevitably. Yeah, I think that's the kind of thing throughout all of these.
Yeah, I think the zombie lure is you either last days, weeks, or a few years.
Yeah,
that's it. But you don't last decades. You're pretty much done.
The inevitability is the thing that's scary.
Exactly.
It's not that they, in and of themselves, are that terrifying, other than being a reanimated corpse. We know they're easy relatively easy to kill. We know they can be run past and outthought easily.
Yeah.
But they just don't stop. So.
No,
Nice.
your lifespan is now shortened by, like I said, years is the most you'll have left, but decades are far gone. You're not going to last decades in a zombie apocalypse. That's it.
Yeah. So that's So go on.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's the end of the trilogy. We'll talk about Land very, very quickly. So obviously after he got to making Land, he obviously made another trilogy, which was nowhere near as good as obviously the first trilogy.
20 years later.
Yeah. It's a shame he never done one in the 90s. It would have been every decade then, at least. Yeah. Which is a shame, but, he's getting old.
It's as I said, because in the 90s, the zombie genre wasn't as big as it was.
Yeah, like you said at the beginning, so...
Yeah. But then obviously 28 Days happens, and then other zombie films happen, and then as soon as that happened, Shaun of the Dead happened, obviously.
Yeah.
And then obviously George Romero was just like, so it looks like...
It came out the same year as it as well.
Yeah, so zombie films are back in fashion. I might as well make a comeback. And should he have? Personally, no. No, it wasn't. But I remember the time when this came out, and I'm not sure if you came with me or not, but like every George A. Romero fan in Crawley showed up that weekend to see that movie. That movie was sold out. Oh yeah, it's just like
every week. That weekend, man, it was just crazy.
It was the only time you got to see a new Romero zombie film.
Yeah, at our age anyway, in a cinema. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's weird. Out of all of them, it's the most dated. The CGI is awful in it compared to like the first three films. As old as they are, they still...
He does a mixture of both, doesn't he? But some of this is CGI, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we know which bit that.
But yeah, just very quickly into it, it seems like the zombies are sort of evolving now. They're Bud plus 10 now, really, aren't they?
Pretty much, yeah.
He's taken the idea and run with it. Just, I think, to try and keep up with modern movies, essentially, whereas back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, he was the front runner. He had cutting-edge... special effects. He had interesting stories to tell that tied in with the kind of political scene of the time. Cinema had changed so much by the time that Land of the Dead was starting to be made. We had internet, we had mobile phones, smartphones were coming out. I think it was 2009, I believe.
So this is the George Bush era, and this is where Dennis Hopper is blatantly George Bush. Yeah, it's all about classism.
That's the sort of thing that interests me about this movie. I like the idea of the working class, poor class, and then you've got them. It's just doing for the rich sort of thing.
It's just too obvious, and I just hate how it's like it's just forced down your throat. He's not being subtle.
No,
with his other film he was subtle. I don't know why with this one he just felt like the audience had just been dumbed down to the point where it's just like I have to spell it out for you for like the whole fucking movie. Like it was that scene when the protagonist guy, there's like I can't help but feel like they're trapped out there when it looks like we're trapped in here, and then it's just like anyway.
I suppose it's kind of a callback in a way, like they fought their way out of the apocalypse, but they're still trapped as they were in Dawn of the Dead. And
it's just not subtle,
surrounded by what they want, but what they want doesn't get them what they need.
It was. I think. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. So obviously, went through the first one was. What was it? What was the political factor of the first one? I forgot. Civil rights. Civil rights.
Yeah. I wasn't sure what you're angling at then.
Because I'm going through the messages that he's going for each film. So then you had commercialism with Dawn of the Dead. Day of the Dead, I think, was during the Ronald Reagan era.
Yes.
I wondered if there was much of a tie to like Vietnam with the army vet kind of thing. But
because it's 85, I think it came out, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
So the Reagan era.
Shell shock era.
Well, the film is just blatantly displaying society's fucked. And Reagan was pretty much the head honcho at that point. So, but Land of the Dead was just the George Bush era. So, and Dennis Hopper is blatantly as George Bush. I think there's a scene where he says, "We don't negotiate with terrorists."
Yes, he does. Yes, absolutely.
I was like, again, it's like you just couldn't be more obvious with that. Even the way he looks, like the old grey. I was just like, it's not his best work.
No, not at all.
It had some interesting scenes, but very few have come to mind. And in recapping, I wasn't tempted particularly to watch Land of the Dead.
No, not at all.
I was happy to rewatch
it's the one I've seen
others.
least. Goes Guillermo. George. What's his name?
George A. Romero.
No,
Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro.
No, that's the director. The other guy, the Super Mario brother.
John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo, that's the guy. Yes, he wants to blow him out your fucking castle. That's the only line I remember from the film.
There's only one line I remember. It was Dennis Hopper. It was like he gets in the car to escape, but the other bloke runs away with the keys. Get back! You got the fucking keys! Oh yeah, in the building. Yo, get down!
Oh, get down! Yeah. Oh, H.R. Janto's in it as well. Yeah. Yeah, she was banging hot in that film.
Cheers, yeah.
Banging
off all stuff.
Yeah. Simon Pegg.
Yeah, they get a little cameo, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Edgar Wright.
There's not much really to talk about this film, is there?
No, as I'm saying, it's only going to be very quickly.
Like good kills in the film. Well, the worst kill I can think of is the CGI head. Well, there's a headless person.
And it flips over, doesn't it? Yeah.
The guy's hand.
Yeah.
Flips back over. And then he shoots him through the chest.
There's a couple of cool prosthetic ones I do remember.
Brain Dead from 20 years prior.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where the ideas and concepts from before making a film was good, but it's the way it's done on screen. It just doesn't.
There's a couple of prosthetic bits I like. There's like when they have a torch and they shine on the floor and there's a foot. But when you go back up, it's been cut. It's been bitten off one. It's like, is that you? Oh no, he's gone. And then there's another one where a zombie's like shoving his hand right in someone's mouth, and it all pulls out his guts, whatnot. That's all like a major prosthetic. It's really, really cool. But the movie alone is like, it's okay. I mean, the main zombie guy has an orgasm every time he talks. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Probably the best.
Do again.
The coolest shot of the film is definitely the Carnival of Souls scene where all their heads come up on the water.
Yes, that's wicked bit.
I remember this was the one where they walked across the.
They figured out they can walk in water. Yeah,
that's when he orgasms them all to go in.
He does it every time. Everything you see is like.
Isn't that a bit where he does that? He's got a gun in his hand, and he goes, and then
he shoots it. And he goes,
he's like, yeah. But it's dumb. I think out of all of them, it's the dumbest one. But it's got some entertaining moment, hence the orgasm.
Sure, yeah. But apparently, don't quote me on this, but someone mentioned this to me not long ago that Bub makes a cameo in this.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if you remember the very beginning, John Leguizamo and a bunch of guys are like raiding like a shop to bring back to Dennis Hopper's rich people, whatnot. Okay. And he opens up a fridge, and the zombie comes out of it, and he sorts it out. But then one of his colleagues reaches over like a counter to get some money out of a till, whatever it is, and the zombie reaches out and bites his arm or his hand, whatnot, which apparently is meant to be Bub. So I need to go back and see if it is or not. But again, I don't know if that's like a Mythbuster thing or not. But
you got a guy with the formed face who's good at he's a good shot or something.
There's some interesting characters. I mean, the main guy in it's so odd at the very beginning, right? He sees the guy at the end, and he looks at him and he goes, "Oh, they're learning. They're getting more intelligent now." But then at the very end of the movie, he has a chance to take out that same guy. Instead of like, if you know he's going to be evolving these zombies, take him out. It's, all
the characters seem very cartoonish. Like they're not as grounded in reality like the other ones.
No, yeah.
Like I say, you got the guy with the formed face who's like an excellent
shot. Yeah,
he's got one good eye, kind of thing. It's just like,
it entered the realm of action movie almost.
Oh, definitely.
Versus the drama.
Yeah. Dead Reckoning is badass though.
The truck's cool with the fireworks thing, but I mean that's probably the thing I remember most.
Yeah, to distract him, wasn't it? The fireworks.
There's very few highlights from that movie for me. It wasn't terrible, but I don't care to watch it again.
No, not at all.
I wouldn't care if it didn't exist.
He tried for a comeback and sort of failed, really. I mean, the other two ended up being like found footage movies in the end, didn't they? So
mention the other two.
We're not going to go into it, but I was just saying, he changed it completely. Diary and Survival were the last ones.
I think I watched Diary, which is to say it was kind of camcorder footage type thing.
I think you and I started watching it and we just turned it off halfway through, didn't we? Yeah, we were just like...
seen Survival. So.
Yeah.
I saw Survival once. It's okay. It's still bad, but it's better than Diary, that's for sure. But no. There's actually another line of the Dead quote which I liked. Oh, yeah. It's when the deformed face guy is like, he's got his back turned, and then the main guy shoots a zombie next to him. And he goes like, "Whoa, nice shooting." He goes, "It's good shooting, Charlie. No such thing as nice shooting." I thought that was a good line.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Good shooting, Dex.
Yeah. Hey, nice shooting. It's good shooting, Charlie. No, there's no such thing as nice shooting.
Yeah, I like that.
So then, thank you for doing that, guys. Obviously, we got the last question of the day, which is going to be, which one's your favourite?
Day.
Sticking with Day?
Dawn of the Dead for me.
Dawn.
It's set in place so many...
I'll give it that Dawn is the most rewatchable and most entertaining compared to the other ones, but Day is just, for me, the culmination of a zombie film. And Rhodes, you got Rhodes, man. He's got one of the best villains, man.
Yeah. So I'm like I said, mine was Day. I probably will stick with it.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, I rewatched these a lot recently, and then, like you said, I was sort of like, I don't know if I was tired at the time. I was sort of like nodding off towards it, but I'll still stick with it because it's one that I remember watching around your side, and I thought, don't think I'm going to like the third one because the third ones in trilogies are never usually good, are they? But then this is a trilogy where it's not one where you follow, and it's a different story every time. And I like those sort of trilogies that you don't have to watch the other one to watch that one,
but sufficiently distinct that you don't need to have seen the others. And each has a different emphasis and impact, which is really important, I think.
And for my money, it gets better each time.
Yeah, I do love Dawn, but yeah, I think I'll stick with Day for now.
Yeah,
but then again, I might watch it back and swap it over. Again, it changes every time, but for now, I'll stick with Day.
Yeah. And what about the Dawn Night remake? I like it.
Zack Snyder.
It's okay.
It is his favorite. I mean,
it's his best film.
It's his best film by far. I do. It's one of my favorite remakes. But then again, there's another theory. Like, do you remember at the beginning where she escapes her husband?
Yeah.
And there's an over-the-top shot of her car. It's driving straight, and a helicopter flies over it. It's the exact same helicopter from the original Dawn of the Dead.
Ah, okay.
It's like, they've been flying around for 20 years. It's a bit too much. Come on.
It's more of an Easter egg, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. But no, it's better than that Day of the Dead remake we watched. Do you remember? With the bullet dodging zombie.
That does not deserve the same
time. Bring that back into my memory. But no, I quite enjoyed the Dawn of the Dead remake.
I do. Yeah.
It was totally different. I mean,
more action and crisp and more
it was clearly a modern movie versus the old.
And there's more characters to really like in that as well.
Yeah,
I remember
they kind of amped everything up. They obviously had a vast budget compared to the original. Yeah. Whether they gained much from that vast budget, other than it looking very impressive, I don't know. But
CJ's the best in that movie. He's awesome.
I tell you what, the zombie child is definitely a quite an impact. I remember when I first saw that, and I was like, shit. Terrifying. I've never seen a zombie birth child. That's fucking great.
It was slightly different storyline, but essentially followed the same impact points of controversy within the group rather than the zombies being the major threat. Although I think, from what I remember, they kind of amped up the zombies to more like the raid zombies type.
They'll run.
Yeah, because they start running now, don't they? Which I think is more deadly, and honestly, that's more terrifying, to be honest. Yeah. They actually run after you.
It totally changes the style of film you're making, because that was one of the things I wanted to mention about Night of the Living Dead. It really set a tone for a type of zombie film where they only ever went at a
slow pace.
Yeah, a shambling, decapitated.
Except the first zombie guy. Pace. He runs after it in the car. He kind of steps.
He does move with a degree of pace, but still not.
I mean, he's not parkouring it, is he?
No, but he does have some sort of speed to him.
I think for me, as much as I love the 28 Days Later movie, I do prefer the slower paced shambling type zombie because it allows you to tell a different story than the fast-paced, angry type ones, which is more of almost like watching an Alien movie.
Sure, yeah.
Well, it fits the mold of Dead. Death, slow decay.
Exactly.
Whereas, I think the fast movement's more of a not dead, but more because they said the film was rage, isn't it?
So it's
not essentially dead. It's more like
it's more of a disease, isn't it? It's an infection, isn't it?
The virus.
But I suppose beyond the point of requiring food, drink, and air like a living person would, so they're dead. But different kind of thing. And there's definitely an element of enjoyment in that, and I do really enjoy them. But I like the old slow ones, which kind of set that precedent. And I think was carried over into Z Nation and into Walking Dead.
Sure. They kept them walking in, literally walking. That's what it's called, Walking Dead. Yeah, they were slow moving in that as well.
And a little bit of trivia because Tim hasn't thrown it out, so I'll put this out here. Greg Nicotero, famed of Walking Dead.
He's in Day of the Dead, isn't he?
His first job was effectively working under Tom Savini in Day of the Dead.
Oh, yeah, because he's a makeup artist, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah, that's I forgot he was in that. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I think George Romero was going to direct the first episode, but he turned it down. I can't remember why. I know Frank Darabont obviously did it. But
George Romero was meant to do the Resident Evil movie, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
I remember that because I when I was younger and found out he was going to be doing it, and he actually directed a TV advert for Resident Evil 2, which you can see you can actually see on YouTube, and it's really, really good. Some of it is a shout out to Day of the Dead if you watch it, but apparently he was fired from it because it was too close to the video game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I say too close, it was meant to be a direct copy of the game, if you will. So Sony were like, no, we don't want that. We want a different tone to it. Hence why Paul W. Sanderson got hold of it in the end. Yeah. So it's a shame. I would have loved to have seen his take on the zombie side video game. I
get the argument where it's like you can't be too fan based about it because there's not everyone's played the game. You want to try and entice as much people as you can. Obviously, if you just do it purely for exactly like the game, you're marketing to one fan base. You want to market to a bunch of people who have never played the game. So I get that logic of it.
Yeah, and an adaptation like that definitely has to reach beyond its original market.
Yeah, sure. You've got to appease everyone, not just one crowd. Yeah,
this is it. So that's it. Anything else you want to throw in? If not, we'll end it there, guys.
Only because I didn't find time to mention it anyway. Just to briefly mentioning just then the influences ongoing throughout.
Yeah, please. Yeah, sorry, of course, yeah.
And as we're talking about computer games as well, I think Resident Evil to a degree influenced by these.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Much more over than that though. Fallout.
Yeah,
I think particularly the more recent Fallout games, influenced by Day of the Dead.
Yeah,
when they're in those bunkers and those underground tunnels, like, shit,
on the vaults.
If this isn't one of the vaults from Fallout 3 that's been, literally full of decaying ghouls and nutty army people.
Yeah, it'd be so cool if they did that, like the base they have in Day of the Dead, and they make it into a vault. If you're a true fan, you would notice that's that room there, this is the room there. That'd be pretty cool, actually.
There's probably a mod out there for
There's
PC
got to
games.
be, yeah, absolutely.
And then obviously with Dawn of the Dead, which is again ties in really well, is the Dead Rising series. Although they moved away slightly, certainly the first two. You wouldn't have that Dead Rising series without Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, literally the first one is Dawn of the Dead video game, wasn't it? Yeah. I never played the second one though. I've only played 1 and 3.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
I didn't play 3 all that much, but I think number 2 is probably my favourite.
Oh, was it really? Rising. Yeah. Okay.
Just because it was less deadly, I suppose, than I found the first Dead Rising really hard to play.
That's what I say. It's like I got to a point where I was like, I don't know if I can do this because you're time limited as well on those games.
And I found that really frustrating. So the sequel, Dead Rising 2, was much more fun, more arcadey, and then you had all those fun weapon combos, and you could kind of start having fun with it. And you get that, I suppose, as we mentioned in the Dawn part of this, you get that mania, that enjoyment of legging it around.
Like anything and everything was a weapon in that game, wasn't it? Yeah.
You kind of reach a power level and go, woohoo! I get to punch with a boxing glove with the blades on the front of it. And
get a cash machine and just...
so not only the direct copy of the mall, but then all of the kind of crazy and the circus theme tunes and so on, all really pulled over. And then obviously, as I say,
So number 2 was in a mall as well?
Yeah, Dead Rising 2.
I've never played it, so I don't know.
Bit more freedom. You still got the back alleys and the tunnels and the kind of hidden areas where you make your safe house. So very much influenced by it. And then the whole trilogy of the Dead influencing Walking Dead and Z Nation.
I've never seen Z Nation.
Oh man, it is so good.
Is it
so good?
Okay.
It does. Unlike Walking Dead, which I found a bit of a turn off after a while because
definitely.
I gave up after season 4.
Yeah, Z Nation just goes, well, shit. It's zombies. It's an apocalypse. Let's go to town on this, and they turn it up to 11. They're crazy.
Okay.
You were mentioning a minute ago the finding lighting up the foot with a torch and assuming.
Oh yeah.
They full out wipe zombies out, and you just get the shins left.
Jesus.
People getting squashed by giant wheels of cheese, and there's a bit like a Bub character who's half zombie, half human, who can control other zombies.
What?
It's so ridiculous, but I think I'd
I might have to give that a go.
highly recommend Z Nation.
Okay.
It gets a bit wonky Series 5 onwards because I think they not quite ran out of ideas.
It's the last season, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. You kind of get a feeling like, is this getting close to cancellation? So we'll try and close everything off. But yeah, there's some really fun scenes in there.
Okay.
Yeah, big recommendations. Recommend George Romero's Martin, if you haven't seen that.
I don't think I've seen Martin. I have seen the Crazies, though. I thought
that was the original remake, definitely.
The remake's actually good for the Crazies.
Definitely. Yeah, it is really good.
Recommend Martin. That's a good one.
Okay.
So it's about a guy who's... believes to be a vampire, but he's not a vampire.
Okay.
So he attacks women by sedating them, cutting their wrists, and drinks their blood.
Nice.
It's not a horror film. It's a thriller. So it's weird for Romero. So
psychological study.
Yeah, so it's a character study movie of this guy called Martin who believes he's a vampire. But it's done in a way where he's a serial killer,
right?
More than he is a vampire.
Okay.
And then there's a few more things happening. I think it's on YouTube. You can watch it for free.
Okay. So, I know of the movie. I've just never watched it. It's like I haven't seen Night Riders, and there's another one he does well.
I've tried to watch Night Riders years and years ago.
With David Hasselhoff?
No. It's medieval guys on motorbikes.
That's right, yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah, of course you'd like it. I got a feeling you'd love that film. So worth watching, but I couldn't even finish that one. Mine is odd.
Right.
It's very low budget. Like it's so like I think they're filmed on 16mm, so it's proper.
Oh wow.
It's so grainy.
Okay.
The sound is a bit off, but it kind of has that kind of edge to it. Kind of want to tell you what happens. Would you watch it?
I'll definitely watch it.
Yeah. We'll see if we get around to it.
Yeah, good luck if you can finish it, because I guarantee you, there's moments of like not so much gore, but scenes that are just there's a lot of talk, pretty much, lots of talk.
Yeah.
Well, there's a content warning. If Tim is recommending that we might not get through it, then there's higher levels.
But there's parts of his. There's one scene I'll mention when he's trying to murder one woman, but he's doing such a bad job of it. You've seen What We Do in the Shadows.
Sure.
So in that scene when he's got the girl sitting down and he pierces her neck and then blood spills. He goes, "Oh no, it hit the vein."
Let's see.
That I think was taken from Martin.
Right. Okay.
It's like, oh shit, he's like doing this kind of like and then he puts himself in his situation. It's very Hitchcock-like. Where, and then he's like trapped. He's forgotten something. It's like, oh shit. So he's a bumbling idiot in some points, but you kind of want him to succeed getting out.
Right.
It's very strange, even though you're not supporting him.
Okay. So
I kind of put you in his position. Was like, how's he going to get out of this sort of thing? So it's an interesting film. It's different from Romero. I mean, it's like I said, it's a character study movie. It's about one guy. So
didn't he do Monkey Business as well?
I think so.
Is that a George Romero film?
I think so. Monkey Business.
Yeah.
Possibly. I think it did. He might have wrote that one and not directed. I don't know, but he's involved in that one for sure. Crazies. I would argue the remake's better.
Well, there is an edition of the remake. You can get the original with it. So I used to have that. But no, the remake is really good.
I think I've watched that one more. Yeah, the first one's more. It's too serious, I think. But
I seem to remember it being quite incoherent.
Oh yeah, it's
probably on purpose.
Yeah, I think it's more self-aware, but it's much more rewatchable than. I mean, the first one is like you have to sit down and watch, and it's just people. It's not as fun and entertaining, I think the remake is far more rewatchable. I mean, I've seen it more than the original, but maybe I should give the original another chance. I've only seen the original once, so we'll give that a go. It
was kind of impactful, but not in the same way that the trilogy of the Dead was. And
You'll
always go back to them.
It will always be known for that. But it's worth checking out those other films just to see them in a different direction.
Yeah, nice. Anything else? If not, we'll...
No, man, great to see you. Great to chat about.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much for coming along and doing that.
Favourite series.
Yeah. So, guys, if you enjoyed what you listened to, then please follow us on Facebook at the M.T.V.B. Podcast, on Instagram at M.T.V.B. Podcast. We're also on Twitter at M.T.V.B. Podcast 1. And for the moment now, this is Ant-Man, Simon, and Tim signing off.
Bye.